Hi, welcome once again. This is the Grand Prix Project podcast with me, your host, Andre and the big bro, Thanos.
What's happening, bro? You alright?
Yeah, I'm good, bro. Yeah, this is the German Grand Prix Sachsenring review.
Mark the Saxon King.
Hey, man, reclaim the throne, right?
Then it was just on a temporary hiatus, man. So it was pretty much inevitable. Like night follows day and day follows night. Yeah.
Yeah, it
It
was.
was a guarantee. There was no way, no how anybody was gonna beat him around that place on a Ducati. No chance. No how.
Yeah, it was. It's like right now you're just running out of what they call it, superlatives. Is that what it's called?
Superlatives, yeah, to
Yeah, it's
describe it.
just. Yeah, it's just crazy what we're seeing right now. As they always say, the best rider and the best motorcycle. You're always gonna get that right.
So the question you ask now is this his best ever championship season?
It has the potential to be, but it's not there yet.
I don't know. I think I'd probably say this is his best ever season because even when he was on the Honda, it was on a Honda that not his teammates couldn't ride. Or he's on a Ducati that's pretty much, yeah. I mean, what was the results of his teammates on the Honda? They weren't that great.
Yeah, I don't. Barring the seasons when he withdrew from races and when he cut his season short. I don't think he's never been better than a Honda.
Exactly.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Because even when he came back from injury when he first came back from the injury,
hmm
he just always found a way on the Honda to just be the top guy. That was a thing in him. No matter what I'm going through, I have to be the top guy on a Honda. It's like he prided himself in make sure he's the top guy.
I
You
mean,
know,
let's be honest. Who was really his team? Who was it? Who was his teammate out under?
he had two world championship teammates. Well, MotoGP championship teammate, and then he had Moto2 championship winning teammate. So it was Pedrosa,
Mm-hmm.
Lorenzo,
Lorenzo.
Joan Mir, and Paul Espargaro.
Yeah, I think probably Lorenzo out of that four, you'd really class as probably true competition. True competition, but then again, Lorenzo didn't really get on well with that Honda. But I think if you look, I think on the grand scheme of things, looking at how he's performing now, how he's managing the races, he doesn't need to win the races by 10, 20 seconds anymore. That,
Yeah, 'cause-
and I think if he wanted to, he could win the races by maybe 10-second margins if he chooses. But that would probably mean
exactly.
he'd have to go, he'd probably have to ride the Ducati. That's what I'm trying to say. He doesn't have to ride the Ducati like how he had to ride the Honda to get the
But
performance out of it.
whenever he tries that, he crashes. So
Exactly.
that's
So the
yeah.
so
But
so the Ducati,
even
if
post race
anything,
Germany,
yeah,
he's
if
he said
anything,
he
the
was devastated.
Ducati, yeah, if anything, the Ducati is more suited to Mark. It's a more probably the best bike he's ridden in his entire MotoGP career, better than any of the Hondas.
Yeah, I wouldn't
Because
say it's
this
more.
bike does everything better than the
Yeah,
Honda.
but I wouldn't say it's suited. I would just say he's adapted to the Ducati rather than the other way around.
Nah, why couldn't you say it's suited? Because again, he rode the GP23. Granted, the GP20, I don't think it's a case of he just adapted. I think the bike just suits him. It does everything that he wants it to do. It turns well, it stops well, it accelerates well. It allows him to look after his tires well compared to everybody else. It's the best bike he's ever ridden.
Yeah, it is the best bike. But if you've been watching his riding style, right, he's had to tame it down a bit in order to get what he wants out of the Ducati. So
But
naturally, that's not his riding style.
but that's the point. But or you could also argue this is his natural riding style. But what we saw him do on the Honda was him. He needed to. That's the only way he could get the performance out of the Honda. He's now realized on this Ducati, I don't need to ride the bike like that because the bike is more responsive. Like I said, it does what I want. It turns well, it stops well, it accelerates well. So he doesn't need to go above and beyond and say, look, the only way I can get it to turn or stop, I have to be ultra aggressive. He doesn't need to be ultra aggressive on it.
No, he doesn't
And
need to be.
exactly, so that's why I think if you compare them, this is probably the best bike he's ever ridden because it allows him, not to be ultra aggressive on it.
You
You said it. We spoke about it before. You said if you look at his teammates on the Hondas, right?
nowhere.
Then nowhere. But if you look on his, okay, granted, Peko isn't having the best season. We get to Peko in a bit, but Peko is still there. You see what I mean? Peko is still
Yeah,
there. Peko is still getting podiums. He's third in the championship, whatever. But when you look at his teammates on the Honda, they were struggling massively on the Honda compared
not
to him.
initially. Initially, Pedrosa. Remember, initially Pedrosa was still getting podiums, winning
Yeah,
races. It took
Pedro
like a
just
couple
Pedro just should
seasons
have won a championship,
for
but
Pedrosa to fall off. Actually, totally fall off the podium. It took a couple seasons.
yeah,
But yeah,
I
so this is
definitely
what
think
seven, huh?
I definitely think this is probably the best bike overall
Yeah,
bike he
this
has ridden
this
in
this is
Formula
the best bike
in
he's
MotoGP.
ridden, right? And that's a given. He, as you say, it allows him to do stuff that you know it does everything. We can't deny it's the best. Ducati just has been creating the best motorcycle since probably 2015.
I wouldn't go.
Yeah, from when he when 15. When was the first time he and Dovey locked arms? Was it 16 or 17?
I believe it was I believe it was 16.
The year when Dovey actually started winning on the
Mhm.
Ducati, they've had the best motorcycle since then. They just had the wrong rider on it.
Fair enough.
They just had
No, it wasn't 2016 because
when was it?
Valley finished second in 2016. I believe it would have been
So it's 17 the following year.
yeah, because Dovey finished second in 2017. Dovey only lost the championship in 2017 by what 37 points.
So from 17, they've had the best motorcycle. And arguably, that motorcycle started coming good from like 15, 16 is when it actually looks like it was on an upward trajectory.
I wouldn't go as far as saying Ducati was the best bike around that time, but
17, 17, 18. Hell
yeah,
yeah, they had the best motorcycle. They've been at the best motorcycle since then. As I said, they just had the wrong rider on it.
fair
They
enough.
just had the wrong rider. Because you got to remember, when did Lorenzo go to Ducati?
That I'd have to look that one up. I don't remember.
Right.
I don't remember what year.
That was a good motorcycle as well, but it took him a little while to start
Twenty
winning
yeah,
races.
Lorenzo was at Ducati 2017 to 2018,
Okay.
and he did
So,
1 year Honda in 2019.
okay. So he did 2 years at Ducati,
Mm-hmm.
right? So that was a championship. Those years was champion. That Ducati was a championship winning motorcycle. Had the potential to. They just had the wrong riders on it. And Lorenzo came to the party too late. Because by the time he started winning races, whatever happened between him and Dominicali, they just booted him.
But then that doesn't also show you that it wasn't the easiest bike to ride in.
No, what happened? Lorenzo, it was the same. So Lorenzo had a tank issue too. So they
Like
had. I'm not sure if you
Peko,
remember that Ducati, huh?
like
Where it
Peko.
wasn't really the tank, the thing that looks like the tank. So they had to
Mhm.
do like a bigger one for Lorenzo. It was like a humpback whale.
Yeah, because
And then once,
I think he kept sliding off the bike because the tank was obviously we know the tank is under the seat, but the tank was basically too
yeah.
small for him.
And once they made the amendments, he started winning races. He was lightning quick. But by that time, they're probably like, nah, mate. For whatever reason, what happened in the back of the paddock or in the offices between Lorenzo and the upper echelons, rumored it was Dominicali.
Mm-hmm.
For some reason, tempers flared or those personalities didn't match. Yeah, Lorenzo was out. So those 2 years, that was a championship winning Ducati if they had the right riders on it.
Because
Right. But
Lorenzo won. How many races Lorenzo won that year? He won Italy, won Catalonia, he won Austria, and Lorenzo only won 3 races that year: Italy, Catalonia, and Austria.
right, it's so yeah, that motorcycle, Ducati been at a good motorcycle that had the potential to win a championship. Exactly when you in the MotoGP sphere, when you it's going to go down in history that the man that stopped Dovizioso from I think 2 championships is always going to be Mark on the Honda.
But did he really? Well, again, I think we can argue either way that it can be a bit subjective. But you know, can we really say he stopped Dovizioso from? Because did Dovi ever go into any of those seasons as the championship favorite? No, I don't think so.
No, it does not. You just have to look at how he performed. Remove Mark, and the Ducati would have been the dominant. He would have been the
Yeah.
dominant rider.
But the thing is, you can't remove Mark because he was literally there. I mean, it's the same thing we
No,
could
that's what
say.
I'm saying. When you look in the history of it, it's always going to be when Ducati had a motorcycle that was ready to win, who stopped it? Because they had a motorcycle that was ready to win from those times.
I don't, I don't know. I'm sitting on the fence on that one. I don't think we can say they might have had a bike that could have won the occasional races, but to win a championship, maybe other
That's
things.
what I'm saying to you. That Ducati was that if you listen to anyone in MotoGP sphere, those 2 years that Dovi was on the Ducati, that
Hmm.
was a championship winning motorcycle with just the wrong rider on it.
Okay.
That was a very good motorcycle.
Okay. Cool. Fair
And
enough.
so, but yeah, German GP, let's kind of so seven pole this year
Hmm.
for Mark
Yep. Man, literally,
in
man's
wet
literally.
conditions.
I mean, did he ever look like he was going to lose pole? Did he ever look like he was going to lose that pole position? Let's be honest.
Yeah, you had to ride for it. You had to ride for it.
Yeah, but
You had to
I
ride
don't
for
know.
it. It wasn't an easy pole because there was a couple riders that was there and there about DJ and Antonio. Morbidelli was up on the lap when he crashed on Mark's time when he crashed. But then again, he
Hmm.
would have had to go through the following two more sectors to actually see that through. But
Exactly.
he's not one of them one in that condition where he just ramped away with it. He really had to. He had to ride for it. He had to ride for that. And then the sprint race. That's that's the big talking point. Man
Yeah,
just couldn't settle for second.
but I mean, can you blame him though? Because there was still enough time left, enough laps left, and he could genuinely say that he was just faster than everybody in those conditions. Because again, he fluffed his lines at the start, and I think he did. He was so eager to lead going to that first corner that he literally outbraked himself. And he was a bit lucky because if he had actually ran off track, he wouldn't have won that race. There was
What he
no
say?
way. If he had gone off track at that turn one, he was never going to win that race. So by keeping it on the track and managed then to just, I think he fell to what, fourth before? That allowed him to, P4, P5, I can't remember which, P4 I think it was. That allowed
I
him
think
to
it's like
basically,
P5, but briefly.
yeah. So by the time he got to turn two, I think what's turn two is that left hander, isn't it? He was pretty much back up to P4, and you knew from there on, yeah,
It was
it's
just a
just a
matter
matter
of
of
the
time.
motorcycle coming to him. Because what he said in an interview is that when he went into the corner, it's either two things are going to happen. He's going to crash. They say just let it
Hmm.
off, run wide, and live to fight another day. Because if he said if he had continued going, it probably would have crashed. So he processed that so quick to realize just let it off and just live to fight for the rest of the race.
Yeah, because it was still a long race, and like I said, he knew he had the pace over everybody, no matter which conditions it was. He had the pace over everybody. So giving up those four positions at the start wasn't going to be detrimental to his race at all.
His boss wasn't happy though. I could tell you that much.
Yeah, well,
Because I see what he
but
was
you can
looking.
understand why his boss.
Tardazio was like he was like, oh my god. Because even Mark said it. He said he took too much risk. He said he could have settled for second, but he said it just it's just instinctively. The bike started coming to him, and he just went, and it just worked out. Because he they're asking him about these, and he was like, you know what? The only mistake I made is when I was being conservative. And he said for some reason, whenever he's conservative, that's when he crashes. He said once I'm in the zone, I just have to ride where I'm comfortable because the moment I start thinking I'm backing up, that's when I make mistakes, which is
Yeah,
understandable, which
yeah,
is totally understandable.
because you're going against your natural instincts, and that's when
Yeah.
you're more likely to, like you said, will make a mistake. And it's kind of similar to what when at Le Mans. when people were talking about Zarko, about he needed to slow down, and I was like, no, don't let the man. This is in conditions like this. Let them ride the normally ride. It's the natural
Yep.
instinct. Because the
And
moment you start
in those
thinking,
situations,
yeah,
you need to be there because the moment you start backing off, that's when you lose temperature in your tires,
hmm so I
right?
mean, I didn't think he was ever. I don't think he was ever going to lose um, that race, even when he dropped to P4, because you just look at it like once he gets into that rhythm and the bike starts to operate, then he's gonna be he's gonna be good, and that's pretty much what he did. You know,
Yeah, not much in the sprint. He just came through one that
and
Bezecchi, another solid weekend for Bezecchi in the sprint.
hmm hmm
Quartararo managed to hold off Digi and Antonio.
that's his. That's what his first sprint podium of the year,
Yeah, his
or
first
is it?
sprint podium in a
Yeah,
while.
yeah. Because he has other
Digi,
podiums. He got podium. Where did he get a podium? Got a podium in Jerez. Where else did he get a podium? I can't remember. But yeah.
the thing is, right? This is what I'm looking. So let's finish out. So this is a sprint. Yeah, sprint was straightforward. Came through in the wet one that. Yeah, so Fabio did well to hold off DJ because DJ was fast all weekend.
hmm
Followed by Jack Miller, Brad Binder, Zarco, Alex Marquez with the broken, but he said it didn't affect him as much. Pedro Furman, man, Peko Bagnaia did not score a point in the sprint. Even Miguel Oliveira wasn't been anywhere. But
Yeah.
this is a sprint. Let me just round this off because we're gonna have to get the Peko and Digia and a few guys in the main race. So yeah, really that's it for a sprint, for the sprint. Just as you said, true to form, right? And then Sunday comes around. Dry race.
Yeah.
Dry race. What were you expecting in terms of so Mark was already earmarked. What were you expecting for the actual main race? What was your prediction, or what were you apart from Mark? What did you have as your podium?
I was. I was hoping Fabio could probably sneak onto the podium at the start. But then I didn't have much expectation for Peko because what I saw on Saturday, just like he didn't look like he was at the races from Friday. He was nowhere. He was literally like, you know, on average, he was like a half a second slower than Mark in literally every single condition. So my expectations for him was maybe maybe finish in the top five, but he was definitely going to score more points. But I couldn't see him making the podium or anything like that. I thought maybe Fabio could sneak a podium, and it would have been Mark, Bez, and Fabio. So
Dijan
yeah,
Antonio or Quattararo?
only Quartararo. There's only one Fabio on the grid. Everybody else is an imitation, man. So did you get called Digi?
That's bold because the pace that DJ was on, it's surprising you unless you thought it was going to crash to put Fabio Quartararo in front of him.
No, I just me. I'm a Fabio guy, and he was starting in the top 10, and on a Sunday, Fabio tends to be somewhat
Yeah, I
better
get it, but
on a Sunday.
exactly what happened. Unless DJ Crashy was going to be on the podium. Have you been watching this guy's pace all weekend? His
Yeah,
pace
but
was
again,
ridiculous.
like I said, anything can happen, and that's why I just had Fabio being on the podium. It wasn't a
Okay,
case.
so not
Yeah,
everything goes.
yeah,
Okay,
I
so
just thought that
permutations is there. Crashes.
Fabio could sneak a podium, when it wasn't expected of him, and so said, so done. But outside of
The
that,
curse.
I didn't really expect any much from the race because again, you kind of got a glimpse of it. Saturdays will tell you what Sundays are going to look like. The sprint race will tell you what the Sunday race is going to look like. If Mark dominates a Saturday, he's guaranteed he's
Even though it
going to
was a wet
dominate this.
Saturday race, apart from Mark, even as a wet Saturday race, you thought that could
Yeah,
tell you the rest of the grid.
yeah, and it was
Wow.
pretty much living up to that format until what happened to the second and third place runners because
No, not really.
those were the three quickest guys all weekend.
No, but Saturday, the Sunday race was different because DJ and Antonio was running second
Yeah,
when he
because
crashed. on Sunday, it didn't. It was nowhere up there. He finished behind Fabio on
Yeah,
Saturday.
but you still can get an idea. Was again, like you said,
I
those were
would I would have more put Sunday race based on what I was seeing on Friday, the stints that I was seeing, and with Digi and Antonio, the pace that he had with Bezecchi. But Saturday, a bit tricky. But yeah, if you saw that, you saw that.
Yeah, because Bez was on the podium on Saturday.
Yeah.
So the only one who didn't make the podium was there you go. And why didn't he not make the podium
When? On Saturday?
on Saturday? Yeah.
Yeah, because he just didn't come through as well as he should. He came through, but he just didn't get past Fabio.
Okay, there you go.
Then he crashed on Sunday.
There you go. But like I
So
said, I didn't have much expectations for the race because I put out a tweet that this year's MotoGP season is akin to Michael Schumacher's 2002 season at Ferrari. That's what we're witnessing. That's the level Mark is on. Right? That's where I see it right now. So, yeah, my expectations wasn't. I pretty much thought it was just gonna once Mark leads the first lap. That's pretty much it. It's a case of who's gonna finish second and third, because no one is gonna beat him, especially around this track where pretty much he could ride it blindfolded and still beat everybody.
and it just shows, right? Look at actually first let's talk about the cursed second place that no one wanted. Let's talk.
Yeah,
So DJ had it first.
crash out.
Was it DJ that had it first? Then Bez got it.
Yeah, I believe. Yeah, which one did Morbidelli crash out from? Was it Saturday?
Yeah, Morbidelli didn't race on Sunday.
No, he didn't race. Yeah, he crashed out of the Saturday one. Yeah, because he had that. Yeah, he got put in a tumble dryer for that crash, man. You can understand why he didn't turn up. Why he wouldn't race the Sunday.
Man had a head beaker, egg
Yeah, but
beater.
what was the question again? What was the question?
So two of them crashed out of second place.
Yeah.
Bez and
Digi,
right? And it's crazy, right? Just it's like I can't wait for this Matt Oxer book that he's writing about Mark, because some things that you hear so far he's saying that the interviews that he's getting is not really based on Mark's speed or his thought process is the thing that he said is intriguing him the most. It's not that he's fast, because a lot of riders on the track is fast, right? Is in his post-race interview, when everyone was crashing at turn one, right? He's realizing that he said, let me just.
But hold on, but Bez and Digi didn't crash at turn one.
Yeah, they crashed coming off his turn one, they crash. Yeah, coming over the start, finish straight, and as soon as they're going to tip it into that first right, that's when they binned it.
You sure?
Same place where Martin crashed the year when he was leading the race.
Okay, because I could have sworn they crashed at. It was on the left-hand turn. They both crashed. So it wasn't turn one.
Turn one. That's the same place where Martin crashed, because turn one is one of the very few rights. So they did all this left, they went out, and as soon as they tipped it in, that's when the front started. So I say that to say, Mark was basically saying he's coming around and he's seeing all these skid marks going off the track. So he's realizing that people are crashing out. How do you even process that? Like, you're barreling down in that corner, having to mind your own business to make sure you don't crash, but you could see what happened before you, and now you're starting to adjust your situations. It's crazy. That's the way he processes these things, bro.
But you also have to remember, once he comes around the next lap, his pit board is going to give him a message. And they're going to pretty much tell him that rider is out and probably where he crashed. So obviously, so he can then make that adjustment going into that corner.
His pit board doesn't tell him.
Yeah, but the pit board would have told him that both riders will crash.
Yeah, but I'm saying to you, the information that I'm relaying now is what I'm hearing other journalists are talking about that they're experiencing when they do these interviews, and I'm like, yo, his thought process is just crazy.
So hold on.
Just the way he just processes things, like quick. The temperature is changing. Oh, I got to change my riding style. There's a dry. It's just, that's the thing that most people are impressed the most about.
But my question to that is, especially, how would he know the temperature is going up or down?
Huh?
How would he know if the temperature is changing?
That's the temperature, but like the feel of the track. So as soon as the bike starts moving, you realize, okay, he could process and he could change what he's doing, right?
Yeah.
The feel, just like what he said, the feel for the track. When it's wet, okay, I need to go to slicks. Even when you're thinking like, there's no way that's slick. For some reason, he's got that feel. And that's what most people are impressed about is his way he processes things. It's not just necessarily just this innate talent that he's got. It's his thought
So he's
process of going to
so
a
he's able
weekend.
to process it and still go fast, basically, because obviously all the other riders process the information the same way, but the difference here with when it comes to Mark, they'll process it and have to go slower just to be on the safe side. But he processes it, and he's still able to keep maintain a peak without
Yeah,
dropping.
you remember San Marino last year when when it started pouring, when it started raining, everyone just dropped off like a second or two,
Hmm.
and he just bolted, and you're like, man. And that. These are the things that most people are impressed with. It's just his feel for a motorcycle, the way he processes things. Even on this weekend past, I think they said he saved some. I think he saved one of his tires because he already went into race mode from Friday afternoon, from what I'm understanding. Like he already knew where he was, and he just started focusing on race pace. Bro, this is Friday.
But I always said that. But I've said that to you before that on a Friday, Mark treats every Friday different to everybody else, and he starts from the first session. I said it to
Yeah.
you before. Once he gets a rhythm in the first session, that's pretty much he knows where his pace is right away. So now he just knows what to focus on. So he can go into okay, let's start working on my race pace because I'm pretty much I think after the first 20 minutes or the first practice session, he knows where he is pace wise. So that now he can make that adjustment and start focusing on his race pace. But if we go back to Sunday again, like Saturday, I didn't think. Let's be honest, the race was pretty boring. If we're being honest, it seems. And I tweeted about this. You've heard riders complaining about how difficult it is to follow. I know you, especially with the issue with front tire pressures and all sort of stuff. What we're witnessing now is MotoGP is becoming very processional. It's very little to no action you find on track. And if you do find action, it's more from the those at the back or the midfield who are doing anything. But once you get to the front runners, it's pretty much status quo. People just maintain the position, and if you pass somebody at the front, it's because your tires, their tires went off, yours didn't, or you genuinely have pace on them. The race
Hasn't that
Sunday
always
was,
been the
but
case though? That's
no,
always been the case.
no, not really, not really.
Yeah,
I think
usually
it.
even when Peko and Martin was winning, it was once you get out front, that's usually it.
I don't think, so, but that's but what I'm saying is,
And this whole idea about overtaking, it's more difficult, right? But we see overtakes happening, right?
yeah, but when you talk, but you have to. We're talking about on the scale. If you compare it, if you go back maybe 4 or 5 years ago, you realize that overtaking has gone down drastically compared to 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah, yeah,
So, and that's because if you look at the bikes now, they pretty much look like Formula One cars
yeah. But
with all of
this is
these
not only this
wings
year,
and these flip flop, this,
but it's been
that
like this
on
for
it.
3 years now.
Yeah, but I get that. But now you're starting to see the problem I'm talking about, where riders themselves are telling you it's hard to follow because of dirty air coming off the bikes. That was never the case. Like I said, maybe 4 or 5 years ago. And if you go back and you look at the numbers, I'm sure you find that overtaking has gradually been going down, and that's as a result of the bike. So now the races have become somewhat processional, and that's why I said on Sunday, it wasn't. I wasn't really surprised. I knew Mark was going to win the race. I said it to you in the what was the Assen, because Assen was prior to this,
Yeah,
right?
but even before the wings, we knew he was always going to win Sachsenring.
Yeah. So you know, what the only thing of note that really happened in that race was Bez and Digi crashing out from second place respectively. Nothing else was really,
No,
you
that's
know,
not true. That's not
really
true.
okay.
Because Luca Marini, Furman, Joan Mir, Raul Fernandez, they was
Hmm.
having a whole ding dong dong at the back of the field.
Yeah, but again,
So there was
no,
action going down there.
but no,
There was a lot of action down in that
but
between those riders.
but the point I'm trying to make is, and it's the same thing we witnessed with Formula One. Yes, you're gonna have ding dong battles, but no one's really. concerned so much with what's going on at the back. It's more where the bigger boys are. That's where you want. That's where these are the guys who are title contenders,
Yeah, but that's
and this is
always
where you
been
want to see.
MotoGP though. That's always been F1. Because even when Seb was winning, it was the same thing. When Lewis was winning, it was the same thing. Like that's always been motorsport.
Yeah, and again, that's where the boredom comes in because you want to see something different happening at the front, but we're not seeing anything different happening at the front. The midfield in any racing category you go and look at, the midfield, World Superbike, BSB, whatever you want to look at. It's those in the midfield to the back where you find all the action because it's
Yeah,
just
because and the problem for that is because it's the same thing for any series. The best drivers, best riders, always on the best machinery, and they're just going to canter. You're not going to get, which is why the midfield is always going to be the midfield, right? That's where you're always going to get a lot of stuff. Unless you find a great rider in the midfield, then you understand what I'm saying?
mhm.
But a lot of the stuff are going away. So let's see what that does, right? A lot of I think ride height is going away. Era is getting reduced. So let's see what that brings. New tire manufacturer, different motorcycles, um, and that's what 2027. And so we still got a year. But yeah, Alex Marquez,
Mhm.
because we're still on the main. So Alex Marquez finished second,
Second.
Peko third. Granted, what do you call it? It's a bit fortuitous. Is that the word?
Yeah, I mean, yeah,
Right.
it was fortuitous for both of them
Yeah,
that they
because
finished on the podium.
thinking, but is
They
that
were,
no matter the conditions, right? Apart from the sprint, it's like Peko is just locked into third this year,
yeah, and we get to Peko shortly, but
right?
again, he started what 11th compared to where did Alex start? What was it? Eighth? Alex or fifth? I believe Alex started fifth, and Peko started 11th. So I didn't. My disappointment in the Peko thing is that Alex was injured, and you still couldn't take advantage of him,
Huh. Hmm.
and that's a problem.
Boy, boy, big bro. Right
Hmm.
now, yeah. Alex started sixth,
Peko started 11th.
right? And that's it, bro. Like it's. But I said, because we're gonna probably spend some time on that, right? Pedro Acosta, because I know Pedro is the guy that you kind of highlight a lot. Main race crashes out, right? How many DNFs has Pedro Acosta had this year? Is that
DNF.
quite a few? Yeah, is that quite a few, right?
Yeah, far too many. Let's just put it that way. He has had too many. Yeah, too many. But what's the point?
It's so now there's rumors that probably is going to end up on a Ducati in VR46. At the moment, it's just rumors
Yeah, but hold on. How did we get to that point? How did we get to pick?
because we're trying to run off the main race, isn't it? But he crashed out of that, which
So
is
hold on. So we done with the point two, the second point.
yeah, that's still a race. That's where we at.
Yeah, but I have Acosta down here at the bottom. Some as a separate topic.
So you're gonna put that okay?
So we have Pedro as a second topic. So we can. So let me edit this.
Because might as well mention him during the race.
No, to do that.
Well, you want to give him a whole separate section?
Yeah, but it's not gonna be long.
Yeah, because
Because I don't think there's that much really to talk about. That's all I could come up with.
yeah. So
Mm-hmm.
so Raul Fernandez, he seems to be coming on a Aprilia. He wasn't too bad this weekend. He's showing some speed. Luca Marini.
Mm-hmm.
Luca Marini finished sixth after coming off that horrible injury. That
And
was
that's
a good ride.
the guy you said Honda should drop compared to
That was a
Joan
good
Mir
ride,
and
right?
compared to his
Joan
teammate
Mir at
Joan
this
Mir.
point, Joan Mir at this point is just starting to piss me off. To be honest, I can't. Even as a world champion, even as a double world champion, I can no longer justify my support for him, right? Even though this accident wasn't his
Did
fault.
I
This
not? Did I
wasn't his
not
fault.
say? Did I not say to you earlier in the year when you said to me, "They're more likely gonna you'd rather keep Mir
But I
over"?
still think he's a better rider than Luca Marini.
Yeah,
That doesn't change.
but the point here is, and I made that point back then that Mir brings the bike home.
Yeah,
Marini brings
this
the bike
crash
home.
wasn't. I must say, this crash wasn't his crash. It wasn't his fault, but
Either way, but
he's there.
during commentary, apparently they said he's crashed out of 57% of his races.
Yeah, he crashes a lot. So it's just like
So then So then this argument about him being a world champion would be the reason why. No, I wouldn't keep him because you're a world champion. That means you shouldn't be crashing so much. Your teammate and Marini, that many people don't rate. I'm not really here nor there about it. He's bringing the bike home. He's scoring points. He's consistently finishing in the top 10. But your teammate keeps crashing. So if
Yeah,
so,
Joan Mir is starting to piss me off, bro.
uh, Jerome
I
should have
could,
been pissing
I
you
could.
off from way back when.
No, because at the end of the day, right? You at some point you're gonna have to you're pushing and you're gonna crash. I could respect that, right? I can always respect a rider who pushes, crashes, cool, right? But now it's just like, bro, it's just getting unbearable. Like at some point, even if this race, this past accident wasn't his fault, he's crashed so much. It's like you still blame him. Like you know the one like it's like a kid that gets into trouble a lot. Now you start getting blamed for everything, right? Even when it's not your fault.
Even if someone takes him out of the race, I'm going to say you crashed. It's your fault. You crashed too much, bro.
You
I'm
know.
not giving you no
So
grace no more. And again, it's not like it's just this year.
crazy.
It goes back all the way. How long has he been on the Honda?
Since Mark was there, when did Mark leave? I think he's been
Mark
on
left.
the
Mark left last year.
2020.
So he's
So
been
what
there
year is that?
about 21, 22.
Yeah, round
So
about
he's
there.
so exactly. And home and you're talking about he's crashed out of 57. They say I'm sure that's the number I heard. He crashed out. He has crashed out of 50.
2023.
Okay,
2023.
2023. He has crashed out of 57% of the races he's ridden in. That's
That's
madness.
rough. That's rough.
That's a sackable offense, bro. You shouldn't be on a bike.
Yeah, that's rough.
You shouldn't be on a bike. That's just crazy. And the worst part about it is the Honda look like it's making its way back.
All right, then I got it up. So this year,
Mm-hmm.
he's got one. This year alone, how many Grand Prix have we had?
I
11?
think it's no. Yeah. Hold
10
on.
or
Let me
11?
just look at the calendar.
11. 11.
Uh, what's that?
11.
Yeah,
It's 11.
11. 11. 11.
He's
Yeah.
crashed out of 7,
Jesus Christ.
right? Last year, off, he crashed out. What's this? He crashed out of 10 races last year,
10.
right? That got a 23 race season, somewhere around there.
Doesn't matter even how many race season, but dude,
Crazy. Like,
that's unacceptable. And like you said, as a world champion.
yeah, bro, it's too much. It's too much. I don't
But
know
when
what
I
else to say
said but
anymore.
when I said this to
It's
you
too
a
much.
couple episodes ago, and you're telling me you'd rather keep him over Luca Marini, and I'm telling you, look, Luca Marini, he might not be rooting up trees, but he's getting the bike across the finishing line, and he's bringing home points.
It's ultimately, right? If we're being honest, right?
Mm-hmm.
Joan Mir, and that's the thing that gets me with him. Bro, you won a whole championship of being consistent. You know he's only ever won one MotoGP race, right?
Yeah, the one was it on? He
And he
was on the
won.
Suzuki.
Granted, the Suzuki is more easier to ride all this stuff, right? But if you got Luca Marini staying on the motorcycle and bringing it home every single time,
Mm-hmm.
coming off an injury and finishing 6th, based on what Luca Marini has been through, and the fact that he just came back, if Luca Marini is finishing 6th with all the attrition that happened on Sunday, bro, you should be at least 5th, bro.
You didn't, but I'm glad. I'm
Right?
glad you're starting to see the light.
Right.
I'm
So
I'm glad you
no,
finally.
it's not about not seeing like is he a better rider than Luca Marini? Yes, he is.
Is he
Yes, he is. He's shown
okay?
that in all categories. He's a better motorcycle rider than Luca Marini. Right?
But on current form, he's not.
Yeah, because maybe the Honda just doesn't suit him as much. Maybe he's not as adaptable. But
Yeah,
is Joan Mir a better motorcycle racer than Luca
but
Marini? Yes, he is.
but but the question. But you say maybe he's not. He's been on the Honda since 22, 23.
Yeah, but we're not going to do that to him though.
Why not?
We're talking about a Honda that's not that Honda was
Yeah, but the
was
Honda. Yeah, but the Honda is
animal.
starting. But that's the point I'm trying to make. If you look at the
Right?
Honda this year, it's the Honda this year. It's the best it's ever looked since Mark was on it,
Yeah.
and he's still crashing. I'm trying to
Joan
bring
Mir.
up. I'm trying to bring up the championship standings on this thing, on this bleeding thing, but for some reason,
Wait, now?
I want to see where I want to see the points standing because I'm looking. I'm trying to bring up the.
He's
He's in 9th in the
with
standings.
32 points.
How much?
32.
And how much does Luca Marini have?
Luca Marini has.
I can never. I hate this web. The actual official page. Okay, here. Okay, here you go. So Luca Marini has 48 points in 15,
And missing some races.
and Joan Mir has missed a race.
Yeah, it's just he missed a lot in the gravel.
So
Yeah,
he needs.
it's getting too much, bro. It's getting a lot. Honda's gonna have to start asking questions.
Of
Right?
course,
There's too much hard charges coming through the Motor 2 system right now to have Joan Mir just wasting a factory ride in the gravel every single weekend, right? And for me, I like to give riders grace, right? Because what they do is difficult. It's not an easy thing, but man, at some point I'm like, man, I gotta hop off this boat, right? Because
I'm going to use those words against you shortly. I'm going to
right,
use those words against you shortly. But let's see. Luca Marini, man, Joan Mir, and there's still the talk of we're going to get to him as well. 89. If it comes down to it, where they're going to have to replace somebody at Honda, that factory team, it has to be Joan Mir. It has to be.
yeah, no, it's looking like it.
Whether it looks like it or not, he's the one that has to go because he's not doing the job. He's supposed to be the lead rider in that team, and he's not leading that team. Not.
The man in the lead Honda man is Joan Zarco.
Yeah, but I don't even want Zarka to go back in that factory Honda. Let Zarka stay
Right.
where he is at LCR and keep doing what he's doing.
Yeah, it's Joan Mir, and you got to get it together, son.
Yeah,
You
no.
know, I was trying to cut you some slack as a double world champion, but nah, man. Like, granted, this accident wasn't his fault, but
I don't care whether it
yes, it
was
was.
his fault or not, but that's what I said to you. He's crashed so much. Again, like you mentioned, the boy who cries wolf.
Yeah,
Cries wolf so many times and there's no wolf. But when there finally turns up a wolf turns up, no one's gonna believe you. No one believes him. And
yeah,
I'm not really sorry. Yeah, I think him and Alex Rins shouldn't be on the grid next year.
yeah. It was bad. You know, far. Let me
Bro,
not even mention Rins.
there was
This was
10 riders finished the race. Only 10 riders. I believe that's one of the lowest of
since
probably in the
since
modern era.
2010. I
The
think
guy, look,
he won race in 2010.
Alex Rins,
Rin-
Alex Rins does not deserve to be on that Yamaha next year. And if Yamaha keeps him, they're not serious about moving forward.
Yeah,
Right now, who's
ever since he
on the
crashed on
second?
the Honda, he hasn't been the same rider.
Look, right now, who's the Yamaha riders? You have me. I'd rather promote
Jack
Miguel
Miller,
Oliveira.
Quartararo, Oliveira.
I'd rather promote Oliveira into that second factory right seat.
That's not gonna happen. That's not
Why
gonna
not?
happen. That's not gonna happen. Oliveira, nah, that's not gonna happen.
But we act, Oliver. Are we gonna act like Oliveira didn't really perform when he was on the KTM?
Yes, he did, but he's not the same rider, bro. There's a few riders on the grid that's not the same.
Yeah, but maybe
But when
putting him in that Yamaha seat might actually revert him back to who he previously was.
nah, because the Yamaha that him and Jack Miller are on is good enough for him to show potential, bro. Going in the factory team ain't gonna all of a sudden propel you up to be Fabio Quartararo. He has a motorcycle because that's how you get promoted to the factory. If we're giving you a
Mhm.
full factory spec bike, you have to show us something, bro. We ain't gonna go off KTM's what you did at KTM unless you had
And
won three
he's
world championship for them.
and he only has
That's a
what,
different
6 points.
story.
Yeah, 6 points. That's not good, dude. That's
Yeah, he was injured. Give him I have to cut him. He was injured, right?
Mhm.
But he's luck, man. He's just got bad luck, Miguel Oliveira. And most of the time when he get caught up, he reminds me of Danny Pedrosa. He's always injured. As soon as Miguel Oliveira is in any form of accidents or mishaps, injuries. So I can't see him in the full factory team.
Well,
Right? I just don't see
Alex
that.
Rins and Joan Mir shouldn't be on the grid for next year, but Anyway, let's move on. You touched on him earlier. Peko Bagnaia didn't score a point in the Prince race, which is again is terrible.
Mm-hmm.
Should he be criticized more for his performances this year?
Of course.
So then
Of
why is
course.
he somewhat being let off the hook by everyone?
Because he's a nice guy. He
Yeah,
hasn't,
but
he hasn't, he hasn't, there's nothing with every rider, right? There's probably only two riders that on the grid, of the top guys, right?
mhm,
Who's been on the MotoGP grid, excluding the rookies. There's probably only Alex Marquez, Peko, Fabio Quartararo, Fabio and Antonio, and who else? There's one more. Riders that really, you could say, you've never heard anything about them, whereas that make you look at them like, would that be? Alex Marquez is just guilty by association because from what I understand, he's a good chap. But Peko is like this, the gentleman of the paddock, right? I've
mhm,
never heard anyone say Peko said or did anything that whether it's through arrogance, whether it's behind the scenes of the team that's around him. I've never heard anything about Peko, right?
mhm.
And I'm not sure. I'm just saying maybe I'm reaching. Maybe that's just the reason why people, for some reason, they have a soft spot for Peko, whereas like they fail to criticize him as they would do anyone else. Because if, say, for instance, just to give you an example, Mark Marquez winning now. If Mark comes around next year and Peko is beating him, Mark won't get the same grace if he says the motorcycle isn't working for me. Wrong or right?
I think I wouldn't agree with that because Mark has enough credit in the bank to be offered that. Because when he said it on the Ducati, when he was on the Honda, he got grace. He was given grace. He wasn't criticized, overly criticized for his performances on the
Yeah,
Honda.
because the problem with the Honda is that he was the only one performing on it. So at that point, you're like, okay, we could see that you're a top talent, and if it's not working for you, you're still. This is the difference with Mark and Peko, which is why I said Mark would not get any grace on a Ducati. Even when the Honda was bad, he was still top Honda.
Hmm.
So if the top guy is saying, well, it's not working, and then you look at four other riders that it's not working for, that makes a lot of sense. If you're looking at the top eight-time world champion and he's on a Ducati, and then he's the third string of four, now, nah, bro, you're eight-time. What are you talking about? Your other three guys are doing the business. Go check yourself. That's what they're not doing with Peko. Peko is, even now, it looks like Digia seems like he found a way forward with the GP25.
Hmm.
And I could see Digia beating Peko on pace a couple races before the season ends, right? Because for some reason because it's probably all right then. This is what I like from what I'm seeing with Digia compared to Peko. I get it. Not everyone is adaptable as a Mark Marquez at certain grades, right? What I'm looking at is Digia had an issue where he said, "Hey, I cannot find the one lap pace. That's where my issue is. We're 11 races in. And the past two races, you could see where Digi has made some progress up the grid on his one lap pace. Make
Hmm.
sense?
Yeah.
So he seems to be making some form of progress, but Pekka hasn't made any. And that's where my issue lies. For a two-time champion, you must, by the 11th race in the season, come on, man. There should have been some progress where we could say, well, there's a clear step between when you started. Bro, you're locked into third place.
Yeah, but I think there has been some. We can see some marked difference with Peko. I think going back from Mugello, he looks completely different on the bike. So I think he has somewhat made some improvements in his performance since Mugello. Okay, this past weekend was a terrible weekend for him, but if you go back and you look at Assen and Mugello, his performances look completely different. He looked like he's definitely made a step, and everybody has seen it. He looks like the Peko of old on the bike.
See?
Yeah, to some extent.
This is unless we're grading progress off different things, bro. DJ and Antonio made progress. He's up the grid from where we're used to qualify. That's progress. Peko ain't
Hmm.
moved.
What do you
Third
mean?
place. The whole season.
No,
Third.
he
That
hasn't
ain't progress
moved.
to me.
Moved in the championship. You mean?
Even in the races, he's still finishing third. Even on a bad day for Alex, Peko is still the third string guy, right? So for me, I'm looking at it like even he said it, I'm just locked into third. To me, DG made more step on the GP20 more than Peko has.
Fair enough.
Right? And that's my issue. I'm looking at that. We're 11 races in Peko. 11 races in.
And we don't seem...
Yeah, and I haven't seen anything that's convincing me, right? Because, as I said, if it was anyone else, you would not hear the end of it. He's getting cut a lot of slack. They're giving him a lot of grace.
And I think, okay, and again, that's probably because he has coins in the bank. And again, this is the first year he's really struggled this badly under Ducati since he joined the team. This is literally his worst season on the bike. So I think in that regard, maybe that's where and again, given who his teammate is, why people are looking at like, okay, let's give him a less, not such a hard time. But I think where it's really going to get difficult, and maybe they shouldn't even be given that, because again, he's losing out to Alex on a year older bike. Like you said, it's like but if you look at it this way, how many races has Alex finished second in? More than Peko, right? So imagine if Mark wasn't there, Alex would be the one winning those races. So in that regard, you can say, yeah, we can't give you. Come on, Peko, you should be at least finishing second to Mark, not finishing third to his brother, because you're on the better bike. And let's be honest, I don't think anyone's going to say Alex is a better rider than Peko, if we're being honest.
What? I was listening to, which one of the podcasts? Which one of the guys? Because there's only certain people that I listen to in the MotoGP sphere. I listen to the highly respectable guys that are respected, who's put in time, right? And I don't want to quote the wrong person. So I'm not going to quote, just in case I'm making a mistake, right? They said when Ducati made the motorcycle, right? The one that they got now, the winner, right? They, in the fold, they realized they didn't have a top rider in their stables, right? So obviously they designed a motorcycle that Dovey developed, right? And then Peko was the guy, the next thing up, the next best thing that was there, right? And Ducati ended up creating a motorcycle, right? That if you're decent enough, you're probably going to win his championship, right? Because when you look at it, Peko wasn't really, if anyone had said Peko was going to come and win 2 championships, no one would have believed it, right? So Peko really isn't like that guy. And we're seeing it now, right? He's an okay guy. He's decent, but he's not Fabio Quartararo talent, right? And it's just showing now. I just believe it's been shown up now to where it's like, okay, granted, the motorcycle isn't what you want it to be. It's not a GP24. But worst case scenario, you need to be second in the championship. You need to be finishing second. I can't see how people would argue that.
Yeah, that's a fair argument to make.
Worst case scenario, you need to be second, even because there's a picture, right? I don't want to go back tomorrow, but just to show, there's a picture where it's like, I think Matt Oxley posted it. Mark was going, I think it was the same turn one, and you could see where the chattering, because he still gets them. Whereas you could see, like if you slide in, if you would see like you slide in, it's a constant black line. With chattering, you see like missed patches of the black. It's just like, and he's still super fast, right? And those are the little things, like he's adapting and he's making it work. And Peko just can't adapt to what the GP2 is doing. And that's it. I think that's where, for me, I'm like, well, I just can't put him at a certain level. For me, I can't put him at a certain level because of these things. Like, we know the GP20, it's not the GP24. Get over it. It's a GP20. And the thing is now, the fact that it's leading the championship by a long shot, bro, you ain't got no coins in the bank for Ducati to do anything, especially if Digi and Antonio is now creeping up the grid. And he's finding speed. And if he starts getting ahead of Peko for the rest of the season, what do you think Ducati's going to do? You think they're going to do anything?
In what sense?
In terms of changing their motorcycle? They're not.
I think they will, because again, they can't just discard him to the side like that. It's a guy that's been there his entire MotoGP career. You've won 2 championships with him. You can't just discard him because he has had a bad year on the bike.
and this is where you and I disagree on these things, because you look at morals. This is motorsport. If DJ and Antonio start beating Peko for the rest of the season, how do you then turn to Gigi and say change the motorcycle? It's crazy. Why? Tell me, Peko, if we built
Yeah,
the
because again,
GP25,
because he has coin in the again. I don't think to say just because DG is moving up the grid, you're not just going to ignore Peko. Why would you do that? You're
it's not
talking about
ignoring him.
yeah, but that's literally what you're saying. They should ignore.
No,
Yeah,
no,
because
I'm
you
not
just
saying
said
that.
why would they
Listen,
change the
listen to
bike?
what I'm saying to you. If you as an engineer created something, right? Granted,
Hmm.
it's not what you created the year before. Or in your mind as an engineer, this is actually better. It does need tuning over a season. We just need to just get certain little quirks right. By the end of the season, it's going to be fully developed. It's going to be better than the GP24. So we're seeing the progress from, well, Mark has been doing this thing. I know Digia is creeping up the grid. He's creeping up the grid. By the time season's end, if Digia is proven that the GP2 actually works and now he's outdoing Peko from now on to the end of the season. Let me ask you, if you're an engineer, how do you have that conversation? How does a rider come in and say, well, this, and then you're going to like, well, this
Yeah,
guy did
but
the thing,
again,
he did the thing. What are we supposed to do at that
yeah,
point?
but the problem with that is there are three different individuals with three different needs. So whilst Peko he might not be encountering the same, which I think he is because what's his name? Uche, I think the guy's name for the manager for Latino Reddit.
Uche Salucci.
Yeah, he's saying I can't remember which race it was, and he basically said the same issue that Pekka is having with the front end is the same thing DG's having. So again, so even if DG moves up the grid and DG starts showing performance and Pekka is relatively stagnant, it's still you're talking about someone that's been with your team since his entire MotoGP career.
Bro,
Just
remove
then,
that. That's irrelevant.
but you can't say,
So I'm glad that you
bro.
said that. I'm glad that you said
No,
that.
you
No
can't
one,
say.
hold on, the thing with Ducati, right? Because I think what you're not getting, Honda did it, or when they say on Ducati is not going to, you're saying there's three individuals with three in different needs. That's the difference with Ducati. Ducati is not making three different motorcycles.
It's not about no. I'm not saying they're gonna make three different motorcycles, right? But you have to listen to why Peko is saying is wrong with the bike. You have to listen to what Digi is saying wrong with the bike, what Mark is saying what's wrong with the bike. And from that information, you then have to try and fix all of these issues so that you can get one bike that all three people won't have. Because if they're giving you three different issues they're facing with the bike, don't you think that's a problem? That's a harder fix?
Yeah, but ultimately, even though we're having these issues, we could see. So Mark is an anomaly. Put Mark out there, right?
It doesn't
Bro, it
matter.
does matter, because
Yeah,
if Digi and Peko
but
is on
your
the same
argument, what you're
motorcycle,
trying to say here is because Digi is making improvements, the engineer shouldn't listen to Peko and
I
try
did
to
not
resolve
say
his.
that. I
So what are
said
you saying?
he's not gonna be in the driver's seat in that argument.
But
In
it's not
that
about
boardroom,
it's not about being in the driver's seat. It's about saying, look, this is where my issues. This is the problem I'm having, and it's for them to try and figure out. Okay, because he's a factory rider, you can't just because he's not in the driver's seat, you're not gonna like try and put work in to fix his problem. You're talking about a guy that won you two championships. You don't
I'm not
just
saying that.
don't this just
No,
throw it to the
you're
side.
not listening to what I'm saying to you. Listen to what I'm saying to you again. You're saying that because your whole argument is because he's won two championship. Nobody cares. That's not how this works. No
What do
one
you
cares,
mean? Why would they not care?
bro. And this because because you're basing this on morality, bro. I keep telling you,
Yeah,
motorsport has nothing to do with morality.
but no, it does.
You're looking at
Morality
a rider who is
does.
a two-time champion,
Yeah,
and if
but
he goes a
moral,
whole
but
season, hold on, if he goes a whole season and he hasn't made the improvement that, and you could see Digia made clear improvement, what do you do at that point?
you still have to try and fix this problem. Again, you can't just say, "Oh, DG made improvement, you didn't make any improvement, so I'm sorry." No, and again, you can't. This idea of yours that morality doesn't exist in motor is I don't. That's nonsense, bro. That's literally nonsense. Because if morality didn't exist in motorsport, wouldn't Honda have gotten rid of Mark when he was crashing like crazy?
Bro, what you're looking at, right? The difference with Mark and Peko,
No,
right?
no, no, no.
Oh, there's
Forget
a
that.
clear
Forget.
difference.
No,
There's
forget.
a
No,
clear
because
difference
no,
between Peko and Mark.
forget. No,
And when I
forget it.
say
Because
morality, I don't mean like everyone is just barbaric. What I'm saying to you, if it's a situation, because you're basing Peko's very existence on 2 championships. Yeah, he won you 2 championships.
so then, what
Bro,
are you gonna base it
what
on?
I'm asking you, if you're an engineer, right, and you created something and you have 3 riders, even though
Yes.
one gave you 2 championships in the past, and you're telling me you win a whole 40 race season, and you're championship winning guy, right? In Peko, you're 2-time champion. You're telling me you win 40, and you could see that. Well, you have made an improvement over a whole season. We could
Okay,
see
but
the second tier
okay,
guy in Digia.
okay,
That's my argument.
okay.
How do
But
you
what are you quantifying improvements as? How are you quantifying him making improvement?
make an improvement is at least start beating Alex Marquez.
Okay,
Second in the championship is
okay.
would be
But
improvement.
what if that improvement he's made doesn't centers around him beating Alex Marquez, but it centers about how he starts to feel on the bike. His how the bike he's now able to brake, he's now able to carry corner speed, etc. Look after his tires, etc., etc., etc. Because
And so
your only view of him making improvement would solely be based on whether he can beat whether he starts to beat Alex or not.
yeah, everything else is irrelevant.
Yeah, but then to beat Alex would also require the bike to start doing what he wants, right?
Yeah.
So whilst DG,
Or he finds it himself to make it to be adjust to start adjusting to certain things that the
but who
bike
said,
is doing.
but hold on a second again, who's saying he's not making the adjustments?
We're 11 races in, right?
You didn't answer the question. Who's to say he's not actually making adjustments to the bike, but even with the adjustments, he's still not getting what he wants from the bike?
So your argument would be that all right, let me ask you, do you think the Ducati
No,
is
you haven't
fundamentally
answered the
flawed?
question. You haven't answered the question.
Yeah, ask your question again.
What's to say he's not making adjustments to riding the bike, but even with the adjustments he's making, he's still having the same problem?
He's gonna have to figure it out, bro. I don't know the answer to
Yeah,
that question. You would have to answer that.
exactly. So we can't blanketly say he's not trying to make any adjustments to what's going on with the bike, or he's not actually improved. Because like I said to you, if you look at him from Mugello up to Assen, again, even in the race on Sunday, he didn't look as bad as the previous 8 races, because he was literally on
Yes,
Alex.
he did. Yes, he did.
No, in
Yes,
the
he did. Because
where
you would
was
have
it?
finished sixth, bro. You would have
Yeah,
finished
and
what,
Alex would
fifth
have
or
finished
sixth?
fifth.
Yeah, that's the thing.
He
Alex is
stopped.
coming off an injury. I could
Yeah,
live with that.
no, but when you say again, he qualified 11th and he would have finished sixth. Alex qualified what? Eighth, you said,
Yeah.
and
They
finished
made
fifth.
up 3 spots.
Okay,
That
so
made up what,
Peko
3
would
spots.
so Peko would have made up more spots than him.
As you would expect. He's on a Ducati, bro. Like, come on.
Yeah, but again, that's beside the point. What I'm trying to say to you here is we keep trying to put forth this argument like Peko is unwilling to try things, to do something different. He literally rode a different chassis over the weekend. So that tells you he's trying to do different things so he can get back to where he was on, where he felt the bike being
And maybe
comfortable
that's
under.
where he's failing.
And maybe and again,
You know why I say that? That's exactly what Yamaha used to do until Fabio told him, yo, just leave the motorcycle. Leave what we got, leave the base setting, and over time, I'll adjust it over time. Sometimes that's
and
what you need to do.
and it didn't change his results.
Right? Oh, Fabio?
Yeah.
Is she trying to tell me that Fabio Quartararo this year isn't that different Fabio than last year? He's not
Again,
getting
no,
better
we're
results
not.
than
But
last year?
your statement doesn't relate to this year. The bike he's on this year is better than the one he was on last year. So your
But he
statement,
hasn't touched it. That's what I'm saying. When he started, he said, leave the motorcycle.
no,
I'll
they've
work with
made
all of
they've
that.
made they've made changes to that motorcycle since the start of the year.
This
It
year
has
when he started it,
they've and
this is
again,
from this is
bro,
from his mouth, bro. I'm not
bro.
he
But I'm
he,
telling
he
you, but
said
I'm telling you,
obviously they're gonna bro.
they've made, so
Obviously
that's
they're
the
gonna bring
point.
upgrades, bro.
So they've made changes to the bike since then. They've not just left it
The
as how we
upgrades,
said.
but what Peck when he started, he could have said, yo, I don't like that chassis, change it. Like he just said, leave the motorcycle. What we've got, let's work on this and build on this. So he's not chopping and changing. He's remaining consistent with what he started with and gradually building throughout the
Okay,
season.
but okay, that's his approach. But Peko wants to find something, so he's willing to do something different. He is willing to try a different chassis. So we can't look. My general argument here is right. Again, I'm not. I've no dog in this Peko fight because I'm not. I like the guy because I think he's a decent human being. He's a good rider. That's it. He's not my favorite. You know where my loyalties lie. But my argument is trying to be spun. The narrative is trying to be spun that he's not trying to do anything. He's not trying to adapt to
I
what the
don't think it's
bike is doing.
that he's trying. I think he's not. The argument is that he's not very adaptable.
Again, how do we know? How do we know that the performance, what we're seeing, is as a result of him being adapting, and that his performance could be far worse than this if he didn't try and adapt?
Hell no, we ain't gonna buy that. He started the season just like this. We ain't gonna buy that.
But
You can't
again,
sell
like I
that to
said
me,
to you,
bro.
if you go and
He
look at
started this
again,
season third.
and again, and if you ignore last week and you go and look at Assen and you go and look at Mugello, you cannot tell me that there's not been a stark difference in those two races compared to the previous 8 races we had up until that point. So it's clear there's something has changed. He has had he has made some improvements with the bike, but it's not enough. But your argument talking
Maybe he
about,
just has his limit, bro. Maybe this is just his
why are
limit.
you so reticent at just actually thinking, you know what, maybe this is what you're hell bent on
Because
saying.
I'm glad that because it's exactly what we started the topic on. This is the first rider, championship winning rider. I've seen people making so many excuses and giving all the excuses in the book as to why he's third in the championship.
You
This is the first
mentioned
rider
you
ever.
said
I've
something
seen this.
earlier. You said earlier something in the chat, and I said I was gonna come back and use it against you, and I can't remember what it was. I should have made a note of what you
When I
said.
mentioned Joan Mir, when I went back on Joan Mir and I said, well, it's tough on him.
No, it wasn't. That it was something else. But again, I'm not trying to make excuses for Peko here because I've literally admitted that his performances this year has not been good enough. And again, for someone of his talent, he should be second in the championship. He's not currently not in the second. Obviously, we know he's crashed out of some races and he's had issues, etc. etc. But the point I'm trying to make here is in his defense,
Peck only had one DNF, bro.
okay,
Silverstone.
but also did he score points in Le Mans? Because did he not get taken out in
Oh
Le
yeah,
Mans?
Le Mans. Yeah,
Yeah.
Le Mans. Was that
Okay.
the main race, right?
Yeah. He got, and I
Yeah,
think he
Silverstone and
did.
Le Mans.
Did he not? No, he scored points in the sprint. I believe he scored points in the sprint. The main race he got that because he was involved in that collision with Zarco. That Zarco
Bastianini.
managed to, yeah,
Yeah, and
Bastianini. Yeah,
Bastianini.
yeah. So what I'm trying to say here is, in his defense, right? We can't. The guy is literally trying. I don't think he's just sitting there thinking, well, it is what it is. I'm not. He's literally trying stuff. He's willing to try an experimental chassis. That tells you he wants to try and get on top of his issues. Why are we
No one
make
is saying that he isn't, bro. Who said he
no?
was?
But listen to what you're
No
saying.
one thinking he's.
I'm making the argument that maybe he's doing everything, and your thing is just saying just like flat out actually trying to go, maybe. But your argument is no. Maybe this is where his talent level is at. Maybe we don't know.
I didn't say
Again
no. I said maybe this is his limit on this motorcycle. It could be his limit. Why can't it be his
and
limit?
again and again and again. So
Why
then
can't let me ask you? Why can't it be? Why
it
can't
potentially
this what we see be in his limit
it's very possible this could be his limit. It could be his
on this
limit.
motorcycle?
Yeah, on this motorcycle, but that doesn't mean then because Digi makes progress, again, the engineers will come and they're like, well, Digi made progress on the bike, you didn't make any progress on the bike. That means he then somehow his needs, the issues that he encountered this year just gets overlooked.
This is why the problem that I'm having. This is even when you talk to his bosses, right? Whenever they do interviews, you could see they're trying to, we've tried everything to the point where
Exactly.
at one point Tardas to say it's in his head, right? Earlier in the season, it's in his head because we've turned that motorcycle in and out, right?
But
At
Tardazzi
some
was
point,
wrong in saying that.
right? At some point, you got to just ride the
Yeah,
motorcycle.
but
And as I said, maybe this is his limit.
Todatsu was wrong in saying that. And what I can never pronounce his name, Uche. That's how it's
Uche
pronounced.
Sonichi.
Uche. What Uche said that Digi is having the same issues that Peko is having, because Peko's main issue with the bike is the front end. Because he said it. It doesn't matter which tire he puts on, the bike doesn't feel any different to him. That's where
And
his problem is. It's the front and DJ. Hold on, and Uchi in his interview with I can't remember the race with Susie Perry and Neil Hudson said the same thing. Said the issue that Peko is having with the front end is the exact same issue that Digi is having, but Digi has managed to find something that allows it not to affect him as much as it does
so you don't
Peko.
see an issue with that on the grand scheme of things? If you're looking at
Again,
it on the grand scheme of things, you don't
again,
see an issue with that?
again. DJ might have found something that allowed not that it doesn't affect him as much. That's what Peko is trying to find, but he has
So
yet to
I'm asking,
find
man,
that.
this is what I'm asking. On the grand scheme of things, right? With all the resources that Peko has got available to him, that's what I'm saying to you. We need the optics of it doesn't look good, bro.
No one
That's
says
what I'm
it
trying to
did,
explain to you.
but no one said it
Because
did.
when you talk about the VR46 team, right, doesn't have half the resources of the factory
Yeah,
Ducati
yeah,
team.
but yeah,
So if it's a situation whereas Digi and Antonio is finding these things, right, and then you're a factory guy with all the resources, everything we got in the back, everything we got back at the factory doing, the optics is not good, big bro.
no one
And
says no,
and
but
that
no one is
and that's why I'm
arguing that
saying
the
to you,
optics.
hold on, and that's what I'm saying to you. At the end of the day, it probably gets a little bit tricky for him once it comes down to where they're putting resources, how they're developing stuff going forward, right? I just
Look,
personally think that's going to be an issue,
well,
right?
maybe, but again,
That's
like
just
I
what I'm
said to
looking
you,
at because I'm
but
like,
you're
they're just
talking,
looking at you like, bro, like, what do
but
we
you,
do at this point?
yeah, but again,
That's all I'm saying.
you're talking about a guy that won you two champions. You have to you owe it to him. You owe it to him to at least.
No one owes you
Yes,
nothing. That's
yes they
what I'm
do.
saying to you,
Because
bro.
yes they do. Come on, man, don't say that. Don't say that. They owe it to him.
No, no one owes you anything.
Yes, they do. They do.
No,
Even
no
his
one
own
owes you
his
anything,
own team boss has said they owe it to him. His own team
bro.
boss has said that.
Yeah,
So then how can you
bro.
say they don't no one owes you anything? His own
I've
team
been,
boss has come out and said they owe it to Peko to get the bike right. So how can you say nobody owes you anything?
bro. No one owes you anything.
But his team,
In this world of professionals, most things no one owes you anything, bro.
bro,
Yeah, they're gonna say that because what do they
yes,
say at that point?
bro,
We can't
yes,
help. There's nothing we could do.
his own team boss has come out and said they owe him. They owe it to him to make sure to give him a bite that
This is
he's
besides the
comfortable
point. But
riding.
don't Red Bull owe Christian Honor for what he did? But they still fired him,
Wait,
despite
what?
everything. They still fired him.
No, Chris, that's a complete. That's not. You can't make that comparison.
Right? Yes, but I'm saying to you,
Christian Horner,
people
no,
are not gonna.
Christian Horner wasn't fired based on performance. Christian Horner firing was political.
Now I'm not saying Pecker's thing doesn't necessarily. I'm saying to you, ultimately, when it comes down to it, no one owes you anything in any walks of life. That no one owes you anything. So ultimately, yeah, they could be like, you know what, he gave us 2 championships. Let's see with it. But let me ask you this, because we're only talking about one thing. How long do you, now that you realize that you need sprint wins to win a championship, how long you think Ducati is going to tolerate
Do you
Peko?
really need sprint wins to win championship?
Yes, you do.
Really?
How many races did Martin win last year?
Not as much as
MotoGP
Peko.
races.
Not as much as Peko.
Exactly. You need, this is how important sprint wins are. If you were just looking at sprint wins, Mark would have been 5th in the championship or 6th.
What do you mean? Because sprint win
If
only
you
give you
remove
12 points.
if you remove his Grand Prix wins and just put his tally up his sprint races, he would be up there in the championship. Sprint wins, yes, you need them to win a championship.
I don't think so. I don't think you need to win the
Martin
sprint
proved
race.
it last year. What
Yeah,
are you talking? We got proof.
yeah, but how many races did Peko crashed out of last year? I don't think you need sprint win. I don't think it's a mandate,
Yes, you
because
do.
again, if Mark finishes second in every sprint race this year, if he finishes second in every sprint race, right, but wins more races, more main races than Alex, he wins the championship.
Yeah. So let me ask you this. So now, so remove, because let's remove Mark, because he's consistent in both, right? So you're telling me if it was an Alex Marquez situation where Peko is him and Alex ding donging, right?
Mm-hmm.
First and second, and Alex be racking up the sprint wins and Peko be lingering down in the back end, not scoring points. You think
Yeah, but
Alex would win that
again, that's
championship of sprint wins?
again, bro. That only works if Alex is winning races and Peko is not scoring points in the sprint race. You're saying you need sprint races to win the championship, and I'm saying you don't necessarily have to win them. Win the sprint races to win the championship. You just need to make sure, because again, the sprint race is only 12 points. You only get 12
Yes,
points
and
for
the
a sprint win.
importance of it comes like what we saw with Martin. He was good on
Yeah,
Sundays,
but
right?
the thing is, but Peko crashed out to sprint races and he crashed out to main races. It's not a case of he didn't win enough sprint races why he lost the championship. No, it's because he crashed out to some sprint and he crashed out to some main races.
So you're telling me if Peko wins every single race of a season, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the next challenger behind him finishes second in every race, but Peko doesn't score in sprints. Who's champion in that scenario?
Again, you're talking about, you just said if Peko doesn't score any points in the sprint races, then
Which
obviously
is
the
very
person.
likely.
No, it's not very likely. Bro, come on, be sensible, bro. There's no way Peko is going to go an entire season and don't score points. That's just
Now I'm
not.
just saying to you, based on what
It's
we're
not
seeing.
likely. It's not likely.
All right, then.
It's
So
not
okay,
likely.
cool. That's probably a reach. So let me ask you this. I'm saying to you, you need this in this MotoGP, unless you're dominating on Sundays every single weekend. You better
What
be
you
having
need to say is you need to score points in the sprint races. You don't need to win the sprint races. You just need to make sure if your
I didn't say you
opponent.
need to win, bro. I said you need sprint races. Sprint
No,
races are important. That's what I did not say
no,
win.
you
What are
say you
you
need to
listening
win
to?
sprint races.
No, I said in this era where sprint races are
No,
important,
no,
you
the
need
original
sprint races.
part. No, the beginning you said you need to win sprint races to win the championship.
Not necessarily win, but you need
No,
sprint race.
that's
You
what
need
you
to
said
perform
because
in sprint races.
you said you need to win sprint
So
races to
maybe I
win the
misspoke, bro.
championship
But I'm saying
because
to you, you know
that's
the
what
importance
Martin
of it.
did. No, but
Yeah,
that's
but
what I'm saying, and that's the point I was trying to make. Sprint races are important, but you don't need to win a sprint race. You just need to know if Mark wins a sprint race, you finish second in the sprint race, losing 2 points to him in the sprint race and three. But then if you go on and win the main race, right, you score 2 more points than him. So you basically okay. So
you're
again,
down,
winning
still
this,
down a point.
huh? No,
You're
but
still down a point.
you still score more points than him overall that weekend
Mm-hmm.
because it's going to be what 34-32. So you still outscore him over the weekend. So you
Yeah.
don't necessarily need to. That's the point I'm trying to make. But the sprint races are important. That will be important because
Yeah, of
it's
course, most
37
definitely.
points every race weekend, maximum you
Yeah,
can get.
so that's what I'm saying to you. We're going in a phase
So
of MotoGP, whereas
yeah,
like you got to
your
perform in
argument should
sprints too.
what you should have said was you need to perform in the sprint races to win the championship because if you don't, you're not going to win it unless you win every
Yeah,
single
that's what I said,
race.
bro. I may have misspoke. I may have said win, but I not necessarily win. Sprint races are very important.
Yeah, and
If I ask you
that's not
again,
what and again that's not why Pekka lost last year. It wasn't just because of the sprint races.
but that's why Martin won. The sprint race is why Martin won.
No, because Pekka won sprint races as well as finish on the podium. And hear me out. Pekka won sprint races as well as finish on the podium in sprint races. Martin won the championship by 10 points. That
Yeah,
means so, and if it's 3 points difference for a sprint for a first and a second in a sprint race. So that means Martin would have had to have won. How many sprint races did Martin win? I don't remember because I'm sure he
I
won.
think he's got the most for a season. I think it's 9, but I'm not sure if his
Okay,
last year
so
was
he
9.
won 9. So that means he would have had to have Pekka would have had to have won 5. He would have had to have won 4 more than Pekka if you're saying it's a sprint because again you can't just say it's the sprint.
No, I'm not saying, bro. I did not say that. I'm saying to you, the reason why Martin won last year, the sprint was part of it because he did not win as many Sunday races. He came from
But
second, but
obviously
the
with
amount of sprint that he won up, that he racked up, it helped him win that championship.
yeah, naturally it will because it's
Which is why my initial argument is that we're in a MotoGP era, whereas like you have to perform in sprints. And I'm asking you,
but
how
then
long?
when you look at sprint, go back and you look at the sprint record last year. He may not have won as many as Martin, but he was consistently finishing on the podium with Martin.
Yeah,
Was
but
he
that's what
not?
yeah, big bro. The thing is moving away. That's what I'm saying to you. So Pekka no longer has that luxury to linger around where he's
We're not
lingering now.
we're not disputing. No one's disputing that he what his performance in this year's sprint race is acceptable. But the point I'm trying to make here is when people say Martin won last year's sprint championship because of sprint races, it gives the impression that Peko was absolutely dog shit in the sprint races when he wasn't. He won races last year, sprints, and finished on the podium consistently with Martin. So that's not really why it's the overall picture of why Martin won the championship is cannot just be put down to basically because what he did on a Saturday.
Bro, you listen linear, bro. You listening on money. Bro, do I have to really break things? If I say that, I'm talking about contribution. The sprint was very important to Martin winning the championship last year.
And
Everyone knows that. His
no.
performance in the sprint.
Again, there's a
That's what I'm saying to
difference.
you, bro. I don't.
No one's
You want me to
dispute.
break it down? You understand
No,
what I'm
no,
saying to
no,
you,
no. What I'm saying to you is, if you listen to people talk, people say the only reason why Martin won the championship last year was because of sprint races.
well, I don't know what they're seeing. That's part of it. That's a very
Of course,
important
it
part of
has
it
to be
because
part of it
that's
because
what I'm
it's
saying to you.
literally part
So
of the
now,
championship.
so to go back to the
It's just like in World Superbike, the Super Pole. There's Superbike used to be two races a
yeah, so let's go
weekend.
to sprint.
No, they inserted the Super Pole, which is a shorter race, three races.
The
So
sprint.
no, Super Bowl is called. It's not sprint. Super Bowl, where you finish in the top nine determines where you start for the second main race on the Sunday. So once the points are included, it's not like Formula One where you don't have sprint. You only have sprint races for what, 6 races? I believe it is this year. 6 races. Sprint races is every weekend in MotoGP, just like it is in Superbike. So obviously, it's the totality of it that counts. We can't just
Yeah.
separate one
So
from
so
the other.
as I said, we went long on this. My point that I'm trying is that how long, if this sprint performance continue for Peko, how long does Ducati tolerate him for?
Again, this is his worst year in the sprints, is it not? Is it not?
Yeah.
Okay. And again, and this is also his worst year on the performance on the Ducati, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so then asking the question how long Ducati would tolerate his performance in the sprint, I don't know why that's a question because again, this is the first time he's actually been performing subpar on a Ducati since he joined the team. So again, and Ducati has already acknowledged that there's issues that he's got issues that they're trying to get to the bottom of. So if it's a case of where they fixed the bike and he's happy with the bike, and then his performances in the sprint are as bad as they are this year, just so speaking in future tense, next year, right? And they're just as bad as they are this year, then Ducati is going to come to him and say, "Yo, what are you doing, bro? We've literally fixed the bike. You're performing a much better now. Why is your sprint race performance that badly?" Because again, last year he had a small tank, but he was still winning races in the sprints and he was still finishing on the podium. This year, it's infinitely worse. So asking that question, I think it's a bit premature to me personally. I think it's a bit premature to ask that question now because again, this is the first time he's actually been this
This
ass
is what
on a
caught up
Ducati.
Peko. A lot of the other, like the Aprilias, they've caught up. Our Ducati riders have caught up, right? And that's gonna be his issue.
Well,
He has to make massive improvements.
again, how do we
Because
know he?
now, hold on, Martin is coming back. If what Bez is doing under Ducati under Aprilia is anything to go by, if Martin takes a couple races to get up to speed,
It's going to take Martin a good while to get up to speed and get to
it's
where
it's
anywhere
it's it's hey man, I don't even want to go longer on Peko, but he got to get it together, bro. And I think he gets a lot
obviously.
of grace because he's a nice guy. I was expecting more, a lot more. I'm disappointed.
Yep.
I'm disappointed.
Yeah, because
Like, and
because I my thing going into the season was I didn't expect him to beat Mark over a season, but what I expected from him was for him to challenge Mark, let Mark work for it, let Mark have to go to his Honda days where he has to go to the extreme, right? And like you said, Mark said, when he starts to push, that's when he makes mistakes.
No, when he stops pushing
When he
is when he
stops.
makes his mistakes.
Okay, whichever.
Is because look at this, right? Just to move on from Peko real quick. What I was expecting, right? I expected Mark to dominate him, right? Because as I said, I don't see Peko at the level a lot of people see him, right? So I expect him to get dominated, but not as much as this. I was saying that, okay, let's see how Mark goes at certain tracks that he doesn't perform well, right? So I was looking at, okay, worst case scenario, he might inch him at say Qatar, right? That's coming into the season. But then I really sat and I thought, like, I had to reassess that. And then I just had to just jump out the window and be like, you know what, man? I don't see you. I see you struggling to beat Mark because I just don't see him at that level, right? And worst case, I expect you to win at least Mugello, your home race, maybe San Marino that's coming up. But for me, I'm not surprised. I wasn't even if Alex wasn't in the way, right? I would probably still see him finish second at most of the races already.
I didn't, like I said, my expectation was simple as this. I expected him to give Mark a run for his money. I don't think he would have beaten him over the season, but I think Mark would have gotten a harder challenge pushed him harder than any other his previous teammates.
Yeah.
I think all things being well, if Peko felt comfortable on the bike like he did on the GP24, I don't think Mark would be as far away in the championship as he is right now. I don't, because I genuinely think, because one of the criticism people had with Peko was he was easy to rough up. Once you rough him up, he withdraws, and then he basically he doesn't want to fight. But we saw it last year in Jerez. We saw it again this year. Did it happen in Jerez as well? And we saw what happened in Mugello. So it's not a case of we've that showed that, look, he's not scared of going toe to toe with Mark, and that's why I was hoping to see him do this year. And unfortunately, that's not going to happen. Will it happen next year? I hope next year it's a different thing for him. I hope next year the bike is what he wants and it allows him to perform how he wants, because then you have no excuses. You can't then say, oh, the bike was this, I had this front end issue, this chattering issue. Because remember, you said the issue could be to do with the small change they made with the engine. It could be that. We don't know. And if it's something to do with the engine, they can't really do much about it anymore. That's it. Because I believe the engine is homologated, so that's it. He's just gonna have to carry it on for the rest of the year.
I don't think it's the engine itself. I think that was where it's bolted into this new chassis.
Exactly. And there's not much they can do now.
It's a bunch of gremlin that just little stuff.
Exactly. So it's like it has that snowball effect. It's one and it just grows and becomes an avalanche for him.
This is where I'm going to end on the Peko situation. I'll give you excuses, right? I'll say, you know what? Yeah, I get it. Even when Mark was riding Honda, I think it was 2014, he went into the last test. I think it was Qatar, and that it was only on that last evening that he actually found something, right? Last dash, and it's when they changed the era. So I understand sometimes motorcycle. There was a point when I think it was the same 24 Mark ran the hybrid. Remember when he ran the hybrid motorcycle?
Yeah, it was what 23 and 24 bike pieced together.
No, not in this recent time. No, one of the championship win bike was a hybrid bike.
Was it 13 or 14 bike? The pieced two bikes,
I think it was
together. Yeah.
So I get that, but what I'm not going to give Peko, right? I'm not going to give Peko 40. Is it 40 races in total?
The championship is how many races?
Or 23 races. We're having 23 weekends.
Hold on, let me just double check. My laptop moving like a crackhead. It's moving slowly. 22. So that's 24 races. That's 44 races.
44. So I'm not going to give you
22 race weekends. 44 races.
Yes, I'm not going to give you. Let's move the sprint for now, right? Let's say 22 races. I'm not going to give you 22 races excuses, bro, and grace. I'm sorry, I'm not doing it. I could give you the first half of the season, but I'm not going to come to the end of the season and telling and ask, oh, this and nah. I'll give you the first, because I get it, I get it. It's just like with anything, even F1. Sometimes you start out, the car ain't where you want it to be, but you get to the halfway point, some upgrades come. You know what I'm saying? You click, right?
Mm-hmm.
As a top driver or a top rider, I'm not giving Peko 22 weekends of excuses and grace, bro. I'm not doing it. So
Fair
now
enough.
I'm not brutal yet. Wait until the season ends.
Fair enough.
If he hasn't picked it up at the end of the season, I'm not giving a 3-time world champion a whole season's grace, bro. Just think about what we just think about it for a second.
But
What other
I
world
mean,
champion, any, even as bad as thing, even though Lewis changed team, bro, they're giving it to him, bro, because what? It's an expectation of who you are, right? It's an expectation, bro, and I don't think Peko should be exempt from that.
no, not at all.
You know,
He's not. No one is
Lewis,
above criticism.
yeah, because
No
if you
one is
look at it,
above
Lewis
it.
is getting it, and we could really say, well, Lewis is new to the Ferrari team. Give him at least a season. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Because of what he is. He's a 7-time world champion. That comes with something, right? So for me, I'll give Peko the first half. So we're going in, I'm giving it to Bruno, the next race, which is coming. We're going to discuss real quick. That's the next race, season's summertime. So Peko better come back with something from now on to the end of the season. Because I'm not criticizing him. This is me being mild. This is me being mild, bro. I don't think any rider, especially a 3-time world champion, deserves a whole season of grace.
I mean,
Right?
Lewis got a whole season for 22. So Lewis got a whole season for 22.
So yeah, but that's it. Peko, love the guy, but you just need to get it together, right? We did mention him earlier, Acosta. I'll let you run with that one.
Yeah, I mean, look, we're not going to spend too long on this because we're pretty much running out of time. But we've had this discussion before, and I said to you, my problem with Pedro Acosta is he crashes too much. He has all the talent in the world, but he crashes too much. And he crashes out of good positions. It's not like he's crashing from 15th. He's crashing out when he's in probably sometimes in the top 5. He's crashing out of races. And for as good as he is and as quick as he is, that becomes a problem. What's that? What's it saying about you can teach it? What's it something about teacher? You can't teach
You can teach a crasher not to. A crasher could learn not to crash, but you can't teach a slow rider to be fast.
Yeah, but I
And
don't.
that's Pedro's saving grace.
Is it? I don't even think it's a saving grace because I think even if he's on a better bike, he's probably still. It's just in him to crash.
I wouldn't say that. I would disagree.
This
I
is
beg to differ.
This is year 2, right?
Yeah, this is year 2 on a super difficult motorcycle. We got to put that into context.
Okay,
it's not a championship winning motorcycle.
Okay.
We're not going to compare him to Peko. Pedro Acosta is different, right? Because we've known the KTM to be a difficult motorcycle. We've known
when did KTM become a difficult motorcycle?
It's always been a difficult motorcycle.
Really?
The KTM used to show flashes of brilliance, right? But it was never like a rounded thing where you could say, okay, it's arrived. You could say that more about the Aprilia than you could ever say about the KTM.
I don't know.
As a rounded motorcycle.
But either way, like I said, you know where my thing is, and I've been saying this for forever. He crashes too much, and at some point you're gonna have to start. He needs to be sat down and like, dude, what are you doing? Year 1, you can accept. Year 1, you can accept that, but you're in year 2 now. Even though the bike is difficult, but then is this not where you learn to adjust? Because again, it's a similar argument for Peko, right? Peko needs to adjust his riding style to deal with whatever issues the Ducatis. Then surely whatever issues the KTM has, granted he's the leading KTM of the 4 KTMs on the grid, he's still the top KTM rider. And he's currently what? He's currently
He's just there based on bad luck for Maverick.
He's currently 8th in the championship. If we're being honest, he should have been ahead of Morbidelli and even Bezzecchi. If we're being honest, but he's giving away points.
This is where I'm going to draw the line between him and Peko. Last year, he came in MotoGP on a difficult motorcycle, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's still on a difficult motorcycle. So in that case, in being a rookie last year, I'll give him, if I see this type of things next year.
So that means then you're willing to give him a year's worth of leeway then.
Yeah, because he's not a MotoGP. He hasn't been on this motorcycle
Yeah,
long enough.
but that's
Pedro,
I
you
don't
can't compare to Pedro, and
no no no
anyone who's
no
listening will be
no
like,
what
you
no what I'm trying to
yeah.
say what I'm trying to do here is the same expectations. If the expectation is for um Peko to adjust to the issues he's having on the bike, then the expectation should be the same for Pedro. Even though he came in with a bike, hold on, even though he came with a bike that's difficult. Okay, it's not the first year; it's your second year riding the bike, so you're familiar with the limitations of the bike now, right? So you should make adjustments accordingly. Last year, you get that grace because again, it was new to you. You're not familiar with it. This year, it's your second year on it, so you know where the limitations are. Why?
You would think, but KTM, they keep
No,
changing their motorcycle, bro.
no,
That's the difference with them.
it's not a matter of thing. But again, if it's his second year on the bike, KTM keep and then, okay, then you said KTM keep making changes. Why does he not do what Quartararo did? Tell them leave the bike as it is, and I'll do what I need to do.
This is why I'll give Pedro more grace, and I'll bring him into next year, different to Peko. I could see where the KTM has regressed to the point where not even Brad Binder can perform on the thing, and Brad Binder was Mr. KTM himself. So the fact that your motorcycle program it's regressed, it means that Pedro's job is 10 times as hard, which is why I'm cutting more slack than I would cut Peko. Yeah, the bike has regressed
How so?
because Brad Binder can't even do what he used to do on the KTM a couple years
Okay,
ago.
but of the two riders, who are the better rider? Of the two, Brad Binder or Pedro, who is the better of the two?
Yeah, Pedro, you would say Pedro based on talent, right?
Okay,
Brad
so
Binder is a grafter, but
what?
what I'm saying to you, Brad Binder used to be the guy you could see. When was the last time you saw Brad Binder anywhere close to the top 5?
Yeah, but that was then. So now Pecker's come in and he has usurped him in that regard. So now he's the benchmark for the KTM, not Brad Binder.
You know that Brad Binder finished ahead of Pedro last year, right?
Yes, but and again, why did he finish ahead of Pedro last year?
Or crashing?
Okay, so now we're in year two, right?
Yeah, but you can't,
And no,
bro. You have to look at the project
hold
that
on.
they're on, bro. You can't do that to Pedro. You have to look at the
No,
project. The Ducati
no.
project that Peko is on is a known winning machine,
Again, we're not.
right? It's a whole different project.
No, we're not talking about a project. What I'm trying to say here is right. If we're going to say Pecco needs to adjust to the bike based on the difficulties he's having, then Pedro Acosta should also adjust because Pedro knows this bike is a difficult bike. He rode it last year. Pecco's riding a bike that wasn't difficult last year. So for Pecco, it's a bigger surprise.
That's what I keep telling you, bro.
Hold on.
The bike that Pedro is on is not the same motorcycle as
Again,
last year. That's the
no.
issue.
Again.
KTM did a bunch of changes to their motorcycle. So
And again,
the engine might be the same, but
but
the
then
project is a total different from what you
again,
rode last year. There's a lot of things that are
then
different.
then I okay, and this is where your words are coming back. I'm using your own words against you. Then Pedro should do what Fabio Quartararo has done with the Yamaha and said to them, look, don't make any changes to the bike, leave it as it is, and I'll do X, Y, Z.
He did that because he think he returned to last year's motorcycle
Who?
or last year's chassis. He did it at one point throughout the season so far.
Who?
Pedro.
Okay, so you give him credit for switching to a different chassis, right?
You're trying to compare Pedro and Peko. We're not going to do that, bro.
No, well, I'm trying to compare your words because what it sounds like
Because I'm looking at the two riders in different parts of their career, bro.
why are you
Pedro is a
looking
second-year
mm,
MotoGP rider,
but
right? So he
again,
deserves more grace than that.
why are you looking at where they are in terms of the
You
career?
have to, because one of them has got way more MotoGP riding experience, way more. You
Okay,
can't.
okay, but
Hold on, let me
should
finish. You cannot deny track hours, track laps, right?
okay,
You cannot deny that. That's a
but
big part of it.
but then
Track time,
but
track time.
then okay, but then should that not then be reasons why Peko should be offered somewhat a bit more grace because again, he's been here long enough, so he knows what's a good bike, what does a good bike feels like, and if he's saying something's wrong with the bike,
Yeah,
why?
he's on a good bike. What do you mean by what a good bike feels like? He's on a great motorcycle.
Again, not for him.
He's on a
Mark. It's a great motorcycle because Mark never rode the GP24. Peko rode the GP24, so he knows what a really good bike feels like.
yeah, and the
So
GP24 is still not winning the championship right now.
again, that's beside. It's not about winning. That's beside the point. The comparison I'm trying to draw here is Peko knows what a good bike feels like. For him, the GP25 is not a good bike because it doesn't get the same feeling from it like he got from the GP24. Mark doesn't have a problem with the GP25. If Mark was on the GP20, Mark would probably be performing the same way because again, you said there's not that much difference between the GP24 and the GP25. But for Peko, Alex never rode the GP24 until this year. So Peko, of the three guys at the front, Peko is the only one to have ridden the 23, the 24, and the 25, right?
Yeah.
And for him, the 24 is terrible. But for Mark, the 25 is terrible. But for Mark, the 25 is great. Because the only thing he has to benchmark it against is the 23.
Yeah.
Peko is benchmarking the 25 against the 24. And he's saying for him, the 25 is not that great a bike because it doesn't get the same feel from compared to the 24. You'd have expected that as an evolution because, again, the evolution of the 24, he could tell you, okay, he told you the 24 was much better than the 23 because he felt the evolution. He's not feeling the evolution between the 24 and the 25, hence why he's saying he's having these issues. Mark can't say that because Mark never rode the 24 other than he did at the end of the Valencia test at the end of the season. So he only rode it for a short period of time. Peko rode the 24 for a whole entire year, and he was there from throughout the whole development process. Mark rode the 24 when it come to its development cycle. So it's pretty much perfect then. So for Peko, when Peko says, look, the 25 is not, I don't like the 25 because I don't get the feel that I got from it compared, I can't feel the evolution. Don't need to, Mark can't say that because Mark comparison is the 23 and the 25.
Hold on. How do we get back to even Mark and Peko?
Okay. So, but the point I'm trying to make, so going back to the whole Pedro thing, what I'm trying to say,
I'm cutting Pedro more slack than I cut Peko.
Yeah, but what you're saying is, and the reason why you're cutting Pedro more slack is because you're saying Pedro is riding a KTM that's really difficult, right? A really difficult bike to ride. And I'm saying, well, this is why I'm using your words against you. If that's the case, this is year 2. It's not year 1. Year 1, we can cut him slack because he's a rookie. He hasn't got the experience. This is year 2 now. So he has a year riding that bike. So he knows the limitations of what he can and can't do on that bike because he knows if I do this is what's going to be the outcome. I'm going to crash. So I can't do that. So I'm going to have to let me figure out. He needs to make that adjustment so he doesn't crash, right? He knows that bike. He knows the difficulty. So he should have come into this year with those adjustments because he knows that's a carry. That was a bad bike last year. I'm on a bad bike this year. Peko was on a good bike last year for him, and this year he's on a bad bike for him. So it's a different thing. So they're coming from two different perspective.
Yeah,
Peko
but I'm
knows that
cut the less experienced guy more slack, bro. There's nothing difficult in that to understand.
But you're only okay, fine.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I'm even comparing them. One of them is a second year.
I'm not comparing them. What I'm comparing is you've no clarified it why you're doing that. You're doing it based on experience. You're willing to cut.
You could anyone you ask be like Pedro Acosta, which one? Yeah, he's a second year rider. Probably ain't got in his feet. Maybe he's just not adjusting as fast, right? But he's still a fast rider. He just needs to iron out some kinks. Peko is how many years on a Ducati? How many years in MotoGP?
I think when did he come in? 17, 2018, 19? Just give me a second. I'll tell you.
I think he came in on the Pramac in 2018. I think he came in on the Pramac.
Okay.
Check. I think he came in on the Pramac in 2018. 2019. Okay. So 2019 he came in on the Pramac. Where we know here. So 6 years. Yeah, bro. I'm not gonna do that with a second year rider compared to a 6-year veteran, bro. Pedro Acosta
I
next
don't
year
want
is when
I don't want you to compare them. What I'm looking at is a bit of fairness, because if you're saying that, Peko should make adjustments so his performance, and again, like I said,
I'm not saying that Pedro shouldn't. I'm saying that I'm cutting Pedro more slack.
you're
He's a
willing
second year rider.
to give Pedro a
Yes.
whole entire year worth of.
Compared to a 6-year rider, yes.
Okay.
Every day of the
Okay.
week.
So when would you want this side that, you know what, you're gonna start criticize Pedro?
No, Pedro for me, right? I'm giving Pedro, I want to see what he does next year, right? I'm
So
giving him
what?
this
Okay.
year
So
because I know the project that they're on. Because I'm looking at the overall picture, bro. You're looking at one thing. I'm looking at the team he's in, the motorcycle he's riding. It's a regressing thing. The KTM has not improved this year, right? To the point because as I said, go back to Mark with the Honda. Even when the Honda was bad, the guy who would do stuff on it, which is Mark Marquez, would still do stuff on it in its worst times, right?
mhm.
In the KTM fold, that was Brad Binder. Now the KTM has regressed so much, Brad Binder cannot even get a good result out of the thing. So to
Yeah,
me,
but
that bike has regressed.
again, Brad Binder was a senior rider last year, but no one really thought he was the better of the two riders.
I'm not talking about who's better. He's the one that
Mm.
used to do the business on the bike. That's what I'm looking at. He was the one, and now it regressed. He'd be like, well, if Brad Binder can't even get a good result out of this bike as a veteran who's been riding that bike from time, right? I'm looking at Pedro like, okay, I'll cut you some slack because if it was a situation where Brad Binder was still doing what he does on the KTM, and I'm like, okay, the KTM looks like it's still got a little thing going on. Then I'll look at Pedro like, yeah, bro, you need to get together. But Mr. KTM himself can't even do nothing on the KTM, right? In terms of the only thing I would say I'm surprised by Maverick on the KTM, right?
Mm-hmm.
The only thing that's beating Maverick is he's just bad luck, right? But Pedro, after cut him a little slack, man. He's a second-year rider, and I don't expect him. I'm not going to cut Peko the same grace as a 6-year vet as I'm going to cut a second-year rider, bro. That would be just crazy of me. That would be crazy of me to do that. Next year, that's it for him. You better get it together, Pedro.
Okay, cool.
Right?
But
He's
anyway,
a second-year rider, so I'll give it to him.
but with the rumors surrounding the rumors that he could end up on a VR46 next year, we know who's is it? Digi. We know Digi is on a Ducati contract, isn't he?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
He's on a Ducati. Him and Fermin are on Ducati contracts,
Yeah.
right? So if he's going to end up on a VR46, Morbidelli is currently where's Morbidelli in the standings?
He's
Morbidelli
going
is currently
superbikes,
fifth.
bro.
Yeah, but Morbidelli is fifth in the championship.
It
How
doesn't
do
matter.
how do you make the case to get rid of Morbidelli?
Hey, it doesn't matter. They don't have to make no case.
Why not?
Let's give him a bunch of money and send him over to
He's
Super.
only 3 points behind Digi.
Is Morbidelli going to win you a championship?
He's never been on
No.
a bike to win a championship.
No, he's not going to win you a championship. Pedro Acosta has way more upside than Frankie Morbidelli, bro. So that's a easy spot.
Oh, okay.
That's a
So
easy spot. You gotta
you think
realize
if these rumors are true, then they should get rid of. Then it's more likely Morbidelli going to lose his seat.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's
Cool.
easy. That's not difficult.
All right then. Cool. Let's see what happens.
Because you got to remember, you could be fifth in the championship, right? But are you going to be fifth in the championship every year? Am I going to get that from you every year? Nah, you're not going to get it from Frankie Morbidelli every year.
But you don't know if you're going to get that from Pedro either.
Well,
You don't
Pedro's
know if
got
you're
more
going to.
upside.
Yeah, but you don't know if you're going to get that from Pedro either. He might have more
Yeah, but bro,
upside.
that's a crazy argument because you never know.
Exactly.
In terms of but you got to go off. Is Pedro a phenomenal talent? That's the question. Was Mark Marquez a phenomenal talent?
Mm-hmm.
Was Valentino Rossi a phenomenal talent? Lorenzo, all of these guys, and they end up proving themselves, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's the same thing. So when you're looking at that, Pedro, Frankie is not a Pedro. He didn't came in with what Pedro is coming in.
But
so
we've seen phenomenal talents not prove themselves either as well.
Name of the last one that came with that type of pedigree that didn't prove themselves. There's not been a lot. You realize that, right?
So as Pedro.
Yeah, if you think about it, if you really look at MotoGP, the only riders who really came in like with that fanfare, like really like this is the guy, it's been Rossi, Marc, and Pedro. Let's check it over the years. Hey, this is the next guy. It's been Rossi, Marquez, and now Pedro Acosta. And these are it's crazy enough. These are the only three riders that's won both Moto3 and Moto2. Well, 125 at the time for Rossi and Mark. They did the double. Pedro did the double. No one else has done it.
Okay. Well, let's see.
Right. So he's got the pedigree, which is why you would have to bet on him, because he's got that. Because if you look at history, well, Rossi did it, Mark did it. He's the only guy that came in as hot as these guys. So you would have to bet on him, right?
Mm-hmm.
If it fails, it fails. But you'd be crazy not to bet on him. Fabio came in with that, but Fabio didn't do what he was supposed to do in the lower categories, right? Because they had to change the rules for Fabio. So Fabio, and but yeah, that's it on Pedro. Because we got to wrap. But I got one more thing I got to ask you. Speaking of Fabio Quartararo, you say sometime, and I see how people, hey, what if Fabio gets on a Ducati? And I'm looking at it like, well, if we already admit Fabio took the bag. Fabio took the bag with Yamaha.
I mean, you can't blame him, though.
Because if his management, or say, if Fabio really wanted to get on a Ducati, Fabio probably would have been on a Ducati, because he had the pedigree to go knock on Ducati's door. Huh?
But which Ducati would he have been on?
At this point, it doesn't matter, right?
I think it does, because I don't think he was going to get a factory ride.
Right? You're telling me that you wouldn't think if Fabio really went knocking, he probably wouldn't have gotten like a Pramac seat or something at some point?
Yeah, that's yeah, again. But he wouldn't have gotten a factory ride.
Why wouldn't he, though?
Because at that time, the conversation was the next person possible moving up to the Ducati factory team was Jorge Martin.
Yeah.
So Fabio wouldn't have gotten a factory Ducati seat, because they weren't. Prospective recruit was going to be Jorge Martin. So Fabio. So the most Fabio would have gotten was a satellite team, probably end up in a situation similar to DJ or Fermin, where he's on a satellite team with a factory bike.
But and in that case, what do you do?
Again,
the Ducati is good enough for you to win races, no matter what Ducati you're on.
Yeah, but again, if he find,
and then it opens doors, bro. Let's keep it a buck.
Yeah, but would it be good enough to win him the championship? Again, we don't know. We don't know what.
You don't have to win the championship in the satellite team, bro. You just need to perform. Whereas the factory team is looking at it like, whoa. Because if
hold up a second.
Satellite bikes,
hold up a second. Jorge Martin won it on a satellite team, and he didn't get a factory ride at Ducati.
No, that's what I'm saying to you, bro. Listen to what I'm saying. Fabio could have found, if Fabio really wanted to get in the Ducati stable, right? If he really wanted to, with his talent and the fact that he's a world champion, there's no way you tell me Ducati turned him away.
He wasn't going to get a in the factory team.
You do realize that probably that would have changed the whole trajectory of Marc, right? If Fabio had found himself in a Ducati.
But he was that. But that's the point I'm trying to make to you. He wasn't going to get into the factory team because.
Well, you can't say that, bro.
Because
why do you keep saying that?
Because listen
he's
to me,
world champion, and he's got.
Listen to me, bro. Listen to me. Because you go back and you listen to the conversations in 23, 22, 23, 24. The very next person up in that Ducati seat to partner Peko, the talk was Jorge Martin.
Yes.
Okay. So the likelihood of Fabio sauntering his way up to the front of that queue wasn't there.
Yes,
so the likelihood, no, it was,
yes,
bro.
It was.
Let's be honest. Okay, let's be honest here, because let's be honest here, and we had this discussion before. The reason why Marc got that factory seat was pretty much he forced Ducati's hand, right? We can all agree on that, right? Because the conversation at the time was Marc was for Marc to stay in the Gresini team, right? And be given a GP25. And Marc says he does not want to stay in the.
We know the story.
Yeah, he does. Let me finish. He does not want to be in a satellite team. He wants to be in the factory team because on that old argument, Martin was going to get the factory ride at Ducati. And the fact that Marc says, yo, is either I get the factory ride or I retire, pretty much forced the Ducatis. If Marc was happy to stay at Gresini and take the GP25, Jorge Martin would have been in the factory team right now.
So let me ask you this. With you saying all of that, what did Marc do that based on? What gave him
again?
chips
Marc used his record what he has achieved in the sport. Let me, well, again, that's a
So
different.
none
You
of it was
can't,
based on his performance in the GP.
again, even on the Jeep,
No, answer the
bro,
question.
dude, listen to me, man. Even whilst he was up performing on the
Bro, you're
GP,
straying the point. You're not getting
I'm
what I'm
not.
trying to. You're missing the point.
You're not letting me finish.
I'll
Even
let you
whilst,
finish because you're still straying from. So I'm saying to you, what he did with Honda, yes, but he still performed on the GP. So my argument is
again,
that
he
right,
performed on
Fabio
the.
also could have.
No one's arguing again. You're not listening. Yes, he performed well on the
But you
GP
didn't even let me
23.
finish my point, bro.
Finish your point.
I'm saying to you, if Fabio had found himself on a satellite Ducati, which is as good as another Ducati, right, and performed, put in the results and performed, it would have given him enough clout to say,
No,
yo,
it
I
wouldn't
want to go
have.
to the factory
No, it
team.
wouldn't have. No, it wouldn't have. No, it wouldn't have. You know why it wouldn't have? Because you're comparing a 7-time world champion to a guy that won one championship. So Mark has more clout. Let me finish. Mark has more clout to play with
Martin
than
wasn't a champion. Martin wasn't a champion at the time, bro. What are you talking about?
I'm talking about.
Martin wasn't.
Mark. I
Martin was a
said
champion last
Mark.
year. No, we're not talking about Market. I'm saying to you, Fabio.
When did
Fabio,
Fabio resign renew his contract with Ducati with
I
Yamaha?
think, was it 2 years ago?
23.
23,
Yeah.
right? And when did
Who
who's
were
your
the title championship in 23?
Martin and Peko,
Okay.
right? But at the same time, what that did, that's what I'm saying to you. If Quartararo really wanted to find himself as a Ducati, everyone would put Fabio in a Ducati.
But
Bro,
he
there
was
was
never.
enough.
But there's
No,
some.
bro.
But
He could have, if he had gotten there, remember, Enea Bastianini wasn't performing on the factory Ducati, right? So even if,
in
okay,
when
Fabio
what
found
year?
himself on a,
What year
huh?
wasn't what year Bastianini wasn't performing under factory Ducati?
Bastianini never performed on the factory between it. All of his great results came on the Grassini, bro. 2 years he got. One of the years he was injured for most of the time, and then he just didn't perform. He just showed flashes
So
of it.
where did okay? But he was injured. But when he was, you tell me. So Bastianini didn't win any races on the factory Ducati.
His performance was underwhelming for a factory rider, which is why he lost his seat.
He lost his seat to Mark.
Huh?
He lost his seat to Mark.
He was going to lose the seat to Martin. They didn't renew him. What are you talking about?
Okay, so again,
So now, let me give you my Fabio scenario. So if Fabio had found himself on a Ducati, right, with Bastianini not performing, even if Martin ended up going to the factory team and Fabio performing whichever the Ducati teams he's in, right, whether it be Grassini or wherever, now he's probably was going to get, he could have gotten the Pramac Ducati, right? Right?
mm-hmm.
Ducati probably would have signed him up and be like, yo, Pramac say, we're going to give you Fabio Quartararo. So now Fabio Quartararo is in the Jorge Martin position in a Pramac team with Martin and Peko in the factory team, right?
But that's
So
but
now,
that's literally the argument I made. I said to you, he wasn't going to get a factory ride. The more likely outcome, if he wanted to go get a Ducati ride in 23, it was going
yeah,
to
but
be
a
on a
factory ride
satellite
with a
bike.
Ducati contract and Ducati money. That's the difference. When you sign a Ducati, you get Ducati money. You're not getting Pramac money. You're getting Ducati money.
What does it matter? But hold up a second.
Because
But hold up
Martin
a
just
second.
did what you just said. Martin won on the Pramac. So why Fabio couldn't do it?
But hold up a second, bro. Listen to what I'm saying to you. We're not talking about winning. What I'm saying to you, if only Ducati Fabio would have found himself on, Quartararo would have found himself on, would have been a customer Ducati customer team. It was never going to be in the
Right?
main team.
It could be a Pramac, right?
Yeah, but that's literally what I said to you. It's a customer team. That's literally said to you. The only thing.
On a factory bike,
Let me.
right?
No, that's literally what I said to you. He wasn't going to get a factory. He wasn't going to get a factory ride. He was going to get. He was going to get a similar. I said to you, he's going to be in a situation similar to Digi and Fermin, whereby it wouldn't be a. I don't think it would have been a Ducati contract,
Yeah,
but
so that's my
it
verb. It
wouldn't.
doesn't have to be red.
He would have been in a customer team on a factory bike, but he won't have the same support as the main factory riders.
He would have had the support that Martin got. That just won the championship.
Bro,
So you're basically saying what I'm saying. It doesn't matter
yeah,
if he's in red.
but the different, but yeah, no, but it matters to him because it's a factory ride he wanted. You would have wanted a factory
So
ride.
you're telling me that you tell me that Fabio would rather stay in Yamaha and struggle in mid pack rather than ride a Pramac that can win him a championship with
That's
full
literally
factory
what he
support?
signed up for. That's literally what he did.
So I don't want to hear, oh, put Fabio on a Ducati, because if he really, that's why I said if he wanted a Ducati, he could have gotten a Ducati.
Yeah, but he wouldn't have gotten the
that
but he wouldn't have. But that's what I'm trying to say to you. He wouldn't have gotten the Ducati he wanted. Just like our Mark could have stayed. Just like our Mark could have stayed at Gresini and gotten a GP25. But what did he say? He doesn't want to ride for a satellite team.
Mark went to a satellite team.
Mark had no choice but to go to a satellite team.
That's what I'm saying to you.
But because Mark had to, because
man still cut his contract, big bro.
What?
Man could have stayed at Honda and collect. That's why I said Fabio took the bag.
But even then, the Honda wasn't the what Honda.
But that's what I'm saying to you. It doesn't matter. Marquez was on a big contract. He cut that to say, you know what, let me go try this second-hand motorcycle, right, to get to where I need to get to. So Fabio chose the money. If he really wanted a Ducati, he would have been on a Ducati, bro. Let's be honest.
No,
or at least
I've never not said Fabio took the money over anything else, and I don't blame him for taking the money.
But I'm saying this is what's going on in MotoGP here. Fabio put him on a Ducati, bro. If
Fabio
wanted to be on a Ducati,
you know what?
He would have been on a Ducati.
You know what? I've never seen that argument. I've never seen that argument where people say put Fabio on a Ducati. I've always said I've pretty much seen people say, yo, if that Yamaha was a better bike, as good as the Ducati, and I think I said it in the last part in what was it? What was the last one?
Assen.
I think I said it in the Assen. Look, if Fabio was on a bike that was anywhere as good as that Ducati, he'd be giving Mark problems. And I think that's the conversation. I don't think anyone is realistic in saying put Fabio on a Ducati, because we don't know if how he'd perform on a Ducati. He might go on a Ducati and be ass. But on a Yamaha, we know for a fact if that Yamaha is good, Fabio is going to be lethal. He's going to be there.
I just think Fabio could have been what Martin is. That's just.
I don't know about that.
Is Fabio more talented rather than Martin?
Yeah, I'd say so.
Yeah. Yes, he is. So I get it. He took the bag, but bro,
but he's young. This thing, bro, and the thing is, money. At his age, taking the money made more sense. Because if it doesn't work out, he's still young enough. Where Mark is 32, and look what he's doing on a Ducati. Fabio is 20. God, I can't remember how old he is. Let me find out.
I think like 26. I think he's like 26 now.
Well, then he was born 1999. Yeah. So he's 26. So he's still 26. Relative. So he's still only just starting to hit somewhat his prime years.
Yeah, have you seen the guys that are coming up?
So what?
Have you seen the guys that are coming up?
None of the guys coming up scares Fabio. Bro, to me, are better than Fabio.
When I look at it, bro, I just always think, man, if you should be gunning to get the best. If you're about this racing thing and about wanting to be champion and be that guy, go find.
But he wanted. It would have been. I would have been more pissed off if he hadn't already won a championship. But the fact that he won a championship, it made sense for him to take the money. You secure the bag because you've already won a championship. If you didn't win a championship and you went for the money, when you could have gone somewhere else and then take a chip, that's why. That's what.
It's the baddest thing, B. As much as he's not my guy, one thing with Valley and the 93, the 46 and the 93, the man is all about racing. The money will come.
Yeah, again,
I gotta respect those guys.
Yeah, but these guys won championships. That's why the money came. Fabio just won one championship, and that's the time the money started to come after his only championship. So widen, and again, it's a factory team he's in.
Yeah.
You have to remember, because you talk about Martin. Martin started his career in a what? A satellite team.
Satellite team.
When Fabio came in, where was he?
Satellite team.
Who did he ride for?
Yeah, Petronas,
yeah. Yeah, right? True.
So,
yeah, true.
I just personally think Fabio don't want the smoke, bro.
Fabio don't want to smoke. All right. Well, you know what?
With that talent, bro, there's no way. That's what I always say. You got your managers, if it's your little friend out, bro, you got to have managers who are going to put you like.
Yeah, but.
Unless you say, you know what? Find me the most money on the grid. If that's what you're riding for, cool.
No, but.
Kudos. Right? But
But if
I
Yam,
don't see.
but if Yama is throwing, but if Yama's throwing the book at him, the check at him, and like, yo, you want a chip? Because I'm sure Fabio is getting as much money as Mark, right? Fabio is one of
Yeah,
the
bro. Because
highest paid.
look at the contracts aren't really big money contracts.
Yeah. So I'm sure Fabio is making at least 20 mil a year. I think.
Hell no.
No,
Making no 20 mil a year. Hell
he's
no.
definitely making bank though.
He's making back. He drives a McLaren, bro. Like he's making money, bro. Right? Fabio is just right now. Fabio is taking the bag. I get it. I can't be mad at it. But for those who are talking about it, allow the Fabio and the Ducati thing. If he wanted to be on a Ducati, he would have. He would have had
Okay,
his management go knock on those doors and get him one of those nice factory Ducati rides.
so
Prove
right
himself
now,
on it. Because
hold
once
on.
you prove yourself on a satellite, you probably, unless it's like a Mark, whereas
Yeah,
like, well, he's a
that's how
crazy
he
car.
ended up. That's how he ended up at Yamaha because he
That's what I'm
proved
saying.
himself
That's
on
what
the
I'm saying.
Yamaha.
He's got the chips, right? But I'm
But
saying at
hold
the
on,
same time,
right. Hold on. I'm reading this now. Fabio Quartararo is reportedly the highest paid MotoGP rider, earning estimated 12 million euros per year.
yeah, 12 million,
Yeah,
right? So he took the bag. Oh, at the end
and
of the
again,
day,
nothing wrong with that because he already won a championship. And again, he's still relatively young, so
this is why I
it's
don't
not
buy
like
the argument because
it's not.
Mark won six and he still cut his multimate, which was with dwarf what Fabio
Yeah,
is
but
getting.
the difference here is Mark was on a bike that's trying to kill him, and on a bike that wasn't showing any progress still at that time. So
But he could have also
why?
retired, big bro.
But hold on. But when hold on. Also, you have to factor in when Mark signed that contract. It's not like he signed it when the Honda was terrible, right? So
Yeah,
he
but that's what I'm
signed it.
saying.
No, but no. But what I'm saying is Mark signed his contract when the Honda was the Honda, when he was good on the Honda, right? Same way Fabio signed his contract when
That Yama was not good. When
23.
he
He
signed, that
won.
Yama was a
When did he win
dog.
the championship? He won the championship in 21? 21.
Yeah,
Because Peko won in 22,
22, 23,
23.
in
So he
24,
won in 21. So and I believe he signed his contract in
23.
23.
So the Yama was a dog at that point. Because remember, people was like, why did he sign back with Yama? It must be the
Yeah.
money. Because remember, Aprilia went
Again,
for him.
like I
Aprilia
said,
went for him.
again, you can't.
Aprilia messed up too. Aprilia
But,
messed up too.
bro, when you look on it in the grand scheme of things, again, he's 26 years old. He's not. He's not 34 or 35. He's 26. So his prime years are still ahead of him. He's, if I'm not mistaken, he's younger than Peko, right?
Yeah.
And he's younger than Martin, right? Peko is what? Peko is 28. Yeah.
Peko is getting
Peko
up there,
turned
bro.
20. Turned 28 in January. Jorge Martin is what?
Roughly
Jorge
about the same
Martin
age.
is, hold on. Jorge Martin is
Same age as
27.
Quattaro. Quattaro, yeah.
No,
Just a year.
27. He turned 27 in January as well. So Fabio is still relatively young in MotoGP terms. Taking the money to stay at, it's not like, again, he's a world champion, like you said. If the Ducat, the Honda, Yamaha thing doesn't work out, he can go somewhere else. Ducat,
Yeah.
Honda will take him.
I just say I respect it. I respect it. I just think that when you're about this life, bro, you go find the best motorcycle
Yeah,
and
but
just
again,
when you get some championships.
but
I don't
he's
want
already
it to
won a
be your
champion. He's
comment.
already won
I
a
don't want
champ.
your career to be a what if. I don't want your career to be like, well, if
It can't be
those
a
years
what
were
if, but it can't.
if Peko was if Quartararo was on the Ducati,
But
nothing would have happened, bro.
his career can't be a what if because he already won a championship.
No, I'm saying
So his career can't be a what if.
when you talk about the Ducati history, this purple patch that Ducati is having, I don't want to hear if Quattaro, because he could have gone there. So that's my thing. Keep the money.
He
That's
would have
cool.
gone to a satellite team. He wouldn't have gone to a factory team.
That's what I'm
Let's
saying. It
be
doesn't
honest.
matter. We just saw a satellite bike when it does not matter with Ducati money.
You didn't say satellite bike, Cool. Either way,
Yeah, it did
either
Martin
way,
win in a satellite team.
yeah. But he was on a
There's
factory
nowhere,
bike.
there's nowhere where I see Fabio Quartararo, which the whole paddock know is super talented, not get a Ducati contract if he really went and pushed for it. Probably the money won't be the same, but everyone knows that when you talk about the talent pool, Fabio is top 3, maybe top 2 on the grid right now.
Yep. Which is
So
why,
there's no way,
when you just said, look at who's coming up, I laugh because nobody's coming up better than Fabio right now. Nobody.
right?
There's Pedro
So
Acosta is not better than Fabio right now. Let's be honest. There's nobody coming through the
Pe-
ranks
Pedro, Pedro is better. Pedro is more talented from what
than
I've seen.
Fabio. All right,
Yes.
let's go to rate the race. Let's go to rate the race because we're not gonna get into this because we're not doing
What are
that.
you basing it on though?
All
You
right,
you
we're
got to
not.
look at what Pedro when Pedro came. Pedro
Mm-hmm,
came with he can do this, he could do that, right? Man won
mm-hmm,
the 125 in his rookie season.
mm-hmm.
Moto 3 in his rookie season.
Yeah.
Man won in his rookie season. Man went to Moto 2, same trajectory as Mark, almost won it in his rookie year. Didn't win it, go on to win it in his second year,
Mm-hmm.
right? So far, Pedro has proven that what I came with, I come with the smoke. He did that. Fabio came in with the same thing, didn't do it in either category. Fabio only came good when he got on a MotoGP bike. We can already see that Acosta is good, has got MotoGP speed. He's not slow. He's got MotoGP speed. So it's just a matter of whenever he irons that out, right? So of course, talent-wise, Pedro is one of the most talented we've seen on the grid since Mark Marquez, bro.
All right, cool. Still, we're not gonna. Never mind. But anyway, let's rate the race because I can hear Ace in the background making noise. My man want his food, bro. So
Race.
rate the race. I give it a 4.5 out of 10. It was boring
Oh,
as
bro, you
hell.
tripping, bro? With this, with what, with all the yeah, I give the rate. I give the race a 6, bro. I give the race a 6.
All right, then cool. You get 6.
I
I
only
give.
watch race for. I don't only watch races for the finishing of the grid. I watch a race for intensity as well. And that weight race was a bit dicey. That's the sprint, and then Sunday it was a race of attrition, bro. So
I mean, only
it
10
was
riders finished the race.
rough. So I'll give it a 6, right? Because me, the way I look at the race is it's not only where the finish, it's about the intensity. Because I tweeted it. Man, to be a Mark Marquez fan is it's rough, bro. I could tell you that much, right? It's a rough situation to be in because even with that speed, you know you're gonna get something. And you just be like, he does have it in him to fuck around and find out at times, right? So even though I'm watching that race, I'm like, so it was intense. It was an intense race because when you see people that's crashing, you never know who's next. So that's why I give it a 6.
Yeah, but no one
Right.
was think Mark was gonna crash. But anyway,
Yeah, but
all right,
yeah,
then cool.
Bruno coming up first time in 5 years, right?
Martin returns.
Yeah, Martin returns.
I don't really have much expectation for him. I think he's gonna struggle. Because obviously it's gonna take him some while to get up to speed. Because he might be fit, but he's not MotoGP fit right now. So it's gonna take him
Yeah,
some while to get up to speed. And
yeah,
I want to see how the relationship evolved with him and Aprilia now
yeah,
after all that rigmarole because that situation still has not been resolved as yet.
yeah. And he's gonna have to he's basically gonna have to go reclaim his spot because Bezeki's the man in that team right now.
Which
Race win, podiums. Yeah, Martin's gonna have to go in and just humble himself, right?
yep.
He's gonna have to
So
humble himself. As you can hear, people, my little baby, he's awake. Yeah, but as I said, I'm a family guy. So I'm not gonna hide my kids and lock them in a room or in a tunnel or somewhere so I could do a
yeah.
podcast. You're gonna hear my family in the background every now and then, which is why it's a podcast. It's not like a radio broadcast. Podcast
Mm-hmm.
it's free reign, right? So my son just woke up. He's trying to touch all this equipment, but shout out
Plus,
to Ace.
I need to go and get my 10K steps for today. Bro.
Yeah, but yeah, let's see what
I'm
Bruno
on
modular
a
light track.
7 day um thing. I've knocked it off for the last 7 days. So I want
All
to
right, bro.
carry on.
Congrats
All
for
right.
that. And let's. What are your predictions for the upcoming check? Prix?
Obviously, easy win for Mark again. Nobody's really. So it's a case of who finishes on the podium. I'm going on the podium. I'm going Peko and Fabio Quartararo
Fabio
on the
on a
podium.
Magellan light track. That's bold.
Yeah, well,
That's
I'm a
bold.
Fabio man. I'm a Quartararo dude, so I'm putting. So Lewis Hamilton is going to win
Yeah,
races
bro.
in
But
that
even that,
Ferrari.
but you still got to be in your podcast. You got to be subjective, bro.
Yeah, and I'm being subjective. I think
All
Fabio
right.
could spring a surprise. Let's see what
I hear
happens.
you.
He could spring a surprise. You never know.
Yeah,
I
he
mean,
could.
let's be honest. Did anyone think Peko was going to finish on the podium in Sachsenring?
the thing is, where I do my prediction from, I'm just doing all goes well. If permutations come it's weather, whatever, tire blowout, whatever, I'm just looking at form. And I can't see Quartararo on form. I can't see him. Considering this track is similar to Modular in terms of the speeds and stuff. So yeah, I can't see it. But as you say, all not going well, possibly. So I'm gonna put Mark. I'm gonna put Alex based on what he did at Sachsenring. So it seems like the injury isn't causing him too much. I'm gonna put Peko in asterisks for third, to be honest, because for some reason I think that's the thing. From third onwards, it becomes tricky because Bez is performing, right?
And it's a free flowing track, and again, it's Mugello Essence type
which
track.
is why, I'm gonna put the asterisk over that, over the third place, because it could be I got 3 riders who could finish third.
So that's Bez, Peko, and Digi. All right, there you go.
Yeah, so let's see, but let's see what happens. First time there in 5 years, so let's see what type of race we get. Let's
hope Mark doesn't bore everybody to death.
Hey man, it's for the rest to step up, man. Hey man, gave the man the equipment, and he's doing the business.
Yep.
Right, so it's for the rest to figure it out.
True.
Right. So it's like you just gotta. I just see it as this. I just see it as just watching greatness. Let's see how far we could push this season and see what we get at the end and see what type of history is made. That's what I'm looking at, right? That's what I'm looking. And
all right then, cool.
We didn't, because I had audio issues last week, so the Ascent one didn't go out. But yeah, this dude, this is it Bor?
Yeah.
Yeah, so my condolences to his family. Once again, in the motorsport world, motorcycle, not a fatality. We never want to see that. But it's unfortunate that could happen in any given weekend, right?
Yep.
So my condolences to his family and his friends. And once again, we, the motorsport family, have lost another rider. Heard that Dorna is trying to wash their hands off it, which is just nasty work.
Yeah, apparently saying there wasn't enough marshals at the track on the Thursday.
What Dorna is saying is that it wasn't their event. Their event started the next day, but the event is actually on the Dorna calendar. So that's just nasty work, bro.
Yep.
I don't agree with that. So RIP, my condolences. And the way he died was just messed up. It's not like he died from the crash.
Mm-hmm.
He crashed. There wasn't enough marshals to put out the flags. Once again, lack of marshals. Went to get his bike and he got hit by another rider. That's a sad way to die, bro. It's not like he died. It's not like you. I'm sure you could rest well if you died because of the crash,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it was just a sad situation. So my condolences and RIP to him. But yeah, we're going to wrap here. Once again, thank you all for listening to the Grand Prix Project podcast. It's been a pleasure doing this episode, over 2 hours. But some people say they like the long form. So if you don't like to listen in one go, just listen in pieces. I'm quite sure a lot of people do long journeys. So perfect. So yeah, once again, thank you. Right. Ace, come here. Come this way. Say
thank you for listening for the Grand Prix.
All right, then, folks, that's it. All right, then.
We are.
All right, cool.